Theories to fall asleep to. Dualism, Descartes, the mind behind the machine. What if your very existence is merely a conversation between body and mind? In a world that pulses with machines, this question becomes unsettling. The dualism proposed by Descartes invites us to acknowledge a chasm, the stark separation of thinking substance and extended substance. But herein lies the paradox. How can a material body house an ethereal mind? You take a breath, feel the air tickling your lungs. This physicality is real, yet the thoughts swirling inside you, silent, unseen. The metaphor of the mind as a ghost in the shell disturbs. Are we constructs of flesh, animated by consciousness's flickering light, or mere artifacts of a mechanic world, driven by impulses and programmed behavior? The historian's echo tells us that Descartes' pondering laid the groundwork for modern philosophy, birthing the exploration of consciousness, an enigmatic realm where our essence wrestles with our physical frames. Yet, if we are but puppets, what becomes of free will? Do thoughts, feelings, and dreams float apart, spinning webs of narrative, with the slightest misstep leading to an existential crisis? And yet consider this: every flicker of self-awareness propels an avalanche of questions. What is thought? A series of electrochemical dances, a manifestation of the universe trying to comprehend itself. The conceptual twist shatters our comfort. What if the machine we operate is merely a facade, a complex illusion conjured by our mind's constructs? Thus, we circle back to the opening. Are we merely battlegrounds for a showdown between material and immaterial? The abyss beckons. Sit with this. Every pulse is a question, every thought a potential fracture, and the void stares back. Idealist Monism. Everything is thought. What if reality is nothing more than a cascading series of thoughts? Idealist Monism proposes a world woven entirely from mental threads. Yet the catch is overwhelming. If everything exists through perception, what remains when we fall silent? You sit in stillness, the room a mere echo of your consciousness. This simple idea invokes discomfort. Are we creators of our surroundings or merely spectators, drawn into an illusory play? A synthesis resonates. All that exists is thought manifested, a shimmering reflection of our collective imagination. Consider philosopher George Berkeley, who asserted that to be is to be perceived. If no one looks upon the world, does it exist? The implication trembles at the edges of our understanding. No bedrock of reality, only waves of thought rippling across a serene lake of potential. And yet, with every ripple comes a challenge. What happens when perception shatters? The riddle of existence curls back, spiraling into itself. If you close your eyes, does the world vanish? Do you summon it back into existence with a mere blink? As you ponder, the horizon of your thoughts expands. Perhaps everything is interconnected, bound by the threads of collective consciousness, fragile, yet endlessly fascinating. So, sit with this. Contemplate the profound. How tightly woven are the fabrics of your realities, and the void stares back. Emergence of Consciousness. The brain that dreamed itself. What if consciousness itself is an illusion emerging from intricate networks of neurons, a fleeting whisper among the clamor? The journey of understanding consciousness is both alluring and disquieting. The brain that dreamed itself, what a paradoxical dance it performs, transcending mere biology into an unfathomable realm of existence. In the silence of night, we lay introspective. Each pulse of thought resembles a drop in a vast ocean of creativity, yet the tension lingers. If consciousness flows from brain activity, do we truly understand our own existence? Or are we walking shadows of sensations and impulses? Neuroscience speaks of complex interactions, and yet the insight unfurls. With the emergence of consciousness appears an insatiable thirst for meaning, an endless quest for self-knowledge. The cognitive construct we call self materializes within the chaotic symphony of synapses. But what of this self? Is it a grand illusion, a mere byproduct of neural chaos? And herein lies the disquieting truth. The more we learn, the more we grasp the gossamer threads separating us from clarity. Witnessing consciousness from the inside out reveals inherent contradictions. The observer and the observed become entangled, like threads in a tapestry, both distinct and unified. Thus, as we peer into the depths, a haunting question arises. Are we the protagonists of our narratives, or mere figments of a cosmic game? A veil remains, shrouding the truth. So, sit with this. Ponder the infinite echoes of your mind, and the void stares back. Consciousness as an evolutionary mistake. The curse of knowing. What if consciousness is an evolutionary blunder, a cruel twist bestowed upon the weary traveler? Weaving an intricate web of awareness, we find ourselves ensnared in an existential maze. The curse of knowing, how seductive yet punishing it is. Awake in the early hours, the weight of existence settles heavily upon your chest. This monstrous gift of awareness, this burden of thought, the ability to reflect on our own mortality and the void that waits. Is it truly advantageous, or is it a cosmic jest? The evolutionary narrative tells us that consciousness aided survival, a means to navigate the perils of a harsh world. Yet alongside that survival arose an awareness of the inevitable, an understanding of the void. The existential ache creeps in, unanswered queries splintering like shards of glass. Do we truly live, or do we merely exist, chasing illusions of fulfillment? Consider the great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who suggested that the awareness of life's absurdity leads to the heaviest of burdens. Here lies the contradiction. To be aware is to suffer. Yet without that awareness, what are we? In the maelstrom of thoughts, a strange realization surfaces. Wisdom, once sought, becomes its own prison. As we wrestle with the agonizing truths of our existence, do we not yearn for simplicity, a return to naivete? So, sit with this. Embrace the contradictions and tumult of your being, and the void stares back. Simulation, hypothesis, pixels of existence. What if reality itself is an intricate figment, a digital tapestry woven from codes and pixels? The simulation hypothesis dares us to ponder the very fabric of our existence, suggesting that the world as we know it, a mere seduction of the senses, might be nothing more than a simulation, a game played by an unseen architect. But here's the catch. If we are indeed players in this grand design, then who or what defines what is real? In this deluge of possibilities, reality morphs into an illusion, light bending through a prism of integers. The boundaries of the tangible blur like waking dreams, leading us to wonder, who is the dreamer? Who, if anyone, is pulling the strings? Imagine this. Each pixel of our day-to-day lives is carefully curated, rendered at the speed of thought. Just as a video game needs its code to manifest worlds, our perceived reality hinges on intricate computations. The philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed an intriguing insight. If it is possible to create a perfect simulation, then statistically, we might be living in one. This assertion rattles our predefined notions of existence. If this world is but a simulation, then who holds the power to create or destroy it? And yet, consider the emotional weight of such a truth. What does it mean for human connection, love, suffering? If everything we hold dear is part of a higher code, do those feelings lose their weight? Or do they amplify? Perhaps they shimmer even more brightly against an expanse of nullity, an echo in an empty hall. Pixels of existence, after all, can be deceiving. They can shimmer with vibrancy or fade into obscurity. Now comes the unsettling pivot. Can we trust our experiences if they are but coded constructs? Reality's allure threatens to vanish as if pulled from our grasp. revealing profound loneliness. Can one ever truly connect with a figment? As you reflect, consider the echoes of this thought. What if we are all navigating the same simulation, designed to shape our perceptions, our beliefs, even our very essence? What if your consciousness is a pixel within a grander scheme of interconnected simulations? Each of us a fragment, feeling our way through the immersive charade. What if we, too, are expressions of this code, layered in a labyrinth of ones and zeros? Walk through this pixelated existence with an open heart, letting the existential tension unfurl within, and the void stares back. Holographic universe theory. The 2D lie. We live in. What if our three-dimensional world is merely a reflection, a projection shimmering upon an infinite wall of intricate codes? The holographic universe theory invites us to strip away our biases, thrusting us into the dizzying depths of perception, into the realization that what appears real is perhaps a mere facade. Imagine listening to light, its whispered secrets granting the illusion of depth, texture, dimension, an ethereal play of shadows on the mind's screen. But could this be an elaborate dance of deception? If the universe operates on two-dimensional principles, then everything we hold sacred stands on the brink of being an illusion, an endless mirage of existence where we grasp at the intangible. The physicist Juan Maldacena proposed a paradigm that encourages a haunting inquiry. If all the information in a volume of space can be encoded on the boundary of that space, is it possible that our lives are reduced to strings of pure data? Like a cosmic hologram, we appear to exist, but in reality, we are bound to two dimensions. Here, reality bends onto itself, folding like origami until the very essence of existence crumbles, revealing an unsettling paradox. But here comes the emotional push. If life is just a holographic projection, what becomes of our identities, our dreams, our fears? The tragedy transforms into a profound opportunity, cradled in the recognition that we can dream beyond the facade. A pixelated realm offers infinite creativity within finite constraints. What if our perception of the universe can be rewritten, can be manipulated? Every moment unfurls like a feather in the wind, light and shadow coaxing our hearts to awaken. What if here lies the beauty of it all, a dimly lit theater wrought with mysteries awaiting our exploration? Could it be that we are scripted players in a cosmic comedy, puppets of our own making? Reflect on this concept and allow the essence of it to resonate deep within. Are you living within the boundaries of a mere hologram, or are you boldly stepping beyond? The illusion begs for a reckoning, but as every truth starkly unravels, it serves, perhaps, to bind us together in the shared pursuit of understanding. And the void stares back. Watching Qualia and Subjectivity, Thomas Nagel. What it feels like to be you. What does it mean to truly embody an experience? To feel, to know, to exist? The concept of Qualia, the subjective, ineffable qualities of experiences, beckons us into an intimate abyss. It signifies that each moment is not merely lived, but felt, an intricate palm print on the consciousness of the living. Yet as we journey through subjectivity, an unsettling question arises. How profoundly can one ever know another's experience? The philosopher Thomas Nagel invoked the profound essence of being. What is it like to be a bat? To peel back the layers obscuring our understanding. If one's reality is a tightly woven fabric of perceptions, then can another ever fully grasp its nuances? Each experience, a flicker of the unknown, forever untouchable. Consider the colors of paradise. How can one articulate the hue of violets to someone who has never seen? The depth of Qualia pushes the boundaries of language, teasing us with whispers of isolation. We are fundamentally alone in our feelings, locked within our own existential chambers, striving to bridge the chasms that separate us. But here lies the paradox. How can we cling to our individuality while yearning for connection? In our quest for authenticity, one must confront the intrinsic isolation buried within existence. Each heartbeat, unique, each sigh, a world unto itself. And yet, within this complexity lies the quiet thrill of empathy. We cannot truly know the essence of beings, but we seek to understand. Perhaps it is this pursuit that links us, an emotional tether in the web of subjective experience. As you sit with this idea, ask yourself, what does it feel like to be you? Dive into the depths of your own qualia. Every sensation, every emotion becomes an act of creation, a collage of being, impossible to completely communicate yet vital to traverse. Is there a deeper meaning threaded through our experiences, awaiting discovery? Lingering at the edge of consciousness, we find the beauty in not knowing fully. A shared uncertainty, a mosaic of existence circulating through our souls, illuminating the unseen spaces where we might connect. And the void stares back. Physical information theory. The code beneath reality. What if the universe is a grand tapestry, intricately woven with threads of information? Physical information theory suggests that the essence of reality may boil down to data, the building blocks from which the cosmos emerges. Every particle, every atom, a mere expression of an underlying code. But here's the twist. Does the physical world exist separate from the information that describes it? The challenge arises. If information is fundamental, what does this mean for materiality? The observable, the tangible? Could these be illusions that veil a deeper truth? Reality, it seems, is far more than the sum of its parts. It is an orchestra of signals, a cacophony of bytes forever exchanging energy. As we delve deeper, we discover that the interplay of information shapes our experiences, colors the fabric of existence. Whether it be through a digital simulation or the cosmic dance of particles, data is the pulse of creation. We position ourselves as both observers and creators, emanating from this eternal exchange, a dynamic flux. Yet, what of the emotional toll of this realization? If reality is merely coded instructions, where do we find our roots? In our longing for connection, we grapple with the existential weight of being. Are we nothing more than fragmented codes in a grand design? Or do we possess an essence, a spark of authenticity? What if our lives are simulations within a simulation, a tangle of information echoing through time and space? We strive to find meaning amid the chaos, yet each answer only unravels more questions. In a world driven by data, can humanity's yearning for truth endure? As you reflect, embrace the potentiality of existence coded in this design. Allow the recognition that life might be but a data stream, yet one filled with complex emotions, rich experiences, and colorful aspirations. Every choice becomes a pixel in the larger canvas, shaping your identity beyond mere information, and the void stares back. Mind as a self-modeling system. The mirror that remembers your mind is not simply a collection of thoughts. It's a self-creating narrative, a complex tapestry woven from the threads of experience and perception. In this intricate dance of cognition, the mind assumes the role of both artist and canvas, sculpting identity with each memory, every fleeting moment. Yet, what happens when you step back? What do you see in this reflection? Is it truly you, or merely an illusion? The paradox of self-awareness beckons like a siren. In attempting to define ourselves, we mold images, familiar yet strangely distorted. We wear masks, play roles, and become the characters of our own narratives. But here's the catch. Is there a solid self beneath the layers, or are we merely figments of our imagination? Like a painter who finds their brushstrokes indistinguishable from the canvas, the question hangs heavy. Who is the artist, and who is the art? Cognitive psychology posits that self-reference is an evolutionary advantage. The brain, in its quest for survival, builds a model of itself, an internal simulator that predicts and reacts to the external world. Imagine navigating a dream where reality is constructed by the very thoughts conjured in your mind? What if your consciousness is simply an elaborate simulation, constructing your surroundings while overlaying meaning onto an indifferent universe? And yet, from this chaos emerges awareness, a quiet echo that whispers, "I exist." To sit with that realization is uncomfortable. The mirror shows you someone mutable, a fleeting collection of impressions, a kaleidoscope of your becoming. But therein lies a strange comfort. The very fragility of identity binds us to the collective human experience, uniting us in our vulnerability. Just as the cloud of particles disperses into endless possibility, do our identities drift apart, reformed anew with each choice, each moment? And yet, we're caught within an existential loop. Can you ever truly know yourself, or are you forever a stranger in your own mind? The paradox spirals deeper. If the mind is a self-modeling system, what remains when the modeling ceases? As you delve into the depths of your psyche, the gravitational pull of uncertainty grows more profound. Sit with this. Allow the shadows of yourself to mingle with the light and contemplate the nature of what and who you truly are. The mirror only reflects back that which you choose to see, and the void stares back. Mind as internal simulator, virtual reality before VR. Before the dawn of digital landscapes, before pixels danced across screens, our minds were already immersed in the ultimate simulation. Every thought forms a story, each sensation crafts a scene. The mind as an internal simulator, producing a rich tapestry of experience filtered through perception. But what if this simulation is more than just an experience? What if it's the very essence of our existence? Here's the twist. Every act of perception does not merely relay information, it reshapes reality itself. As you read these words, your mind constructs a narrative in real time, stitching together moments rendered from your past. What appears as the outside world is intricately layered with your beliefs, emotions, and expectations. The interior landscape shifts with each heartbeat, evolving seamlessly into a projection of our desires and fears. Psychology illustrates the power of this internal theater. Perceptual reality is malleable, formed through neural coding that creates images and sounds, emotions and impulses. Yet it begs the question, if reality is but a sequence of interpretations, can we trust what we perceive? The internal simulator thrives on making sense of chaos, yet often leads us into labyrinths of illusion. The line between actual experience and simulated belief blurs. Pause. What if your reality is a mere construct, an elaborate game orchestrated by the mind? As you wander through the corridors of your consciousness, the boundaries dissolve. Are you the player, or just a piece on the board? The internal landscape offers both freedom and confinement, allowing choices yet entangling them in the webs of perceived consequence. But therein lies the brilliance and the curse. Within this exquisite construct, awareness flourishes. You can transcend the limits of your simulation, venturing beyond mundane perceptions into the realms of the profound. Yet this journey raises another question. When everything is a simulation, what remains authentically you? So, take a moment. Embrace the unreality woven into every experience. The mind does not merely reflect the world, it shapes it, creates it anew. As the scenery shifts with every thought, every breath, remember that what is real may just be a mirage shimmering in the distance, and the void stares back. Mind-body problem. The ghost in the circuit. There is a dissonance, a stark fracture, in the very fabric of existence. Your thoughts whirl in a chaotic storm, while your body anchors you to the earth. How is it that something as ethereal as consciousness could exist within the confines of flesh? This is the heart of the mind-body problem, a perplexing riddle where the ghost dances within the circuit. Consider for a moment, if the mind is a realm of thoughts, emotions, and dreams, what chains it to the physical world? The very act of thinking can feel weightless, yet it's inseparable from the corporeal vessel we inhabit. Here's the paradox. Our essence is entangled in the body, yet we often view ourselves as disembodied observers. Are we the puppeteers or the puppets? The philosopher Descartes famously mused, "I think, therefore I am." But the question remains, what is I? The more you ponder, the more the layers peel away. Neuroscience illustrates that brain activity precipitates actions before conscious awareness even registers. Are you the author of your thoughts, or are they preordained scripts performed by an intricate machine? In addressing our origins, science suggests we are a product of evolutionary design. The body responds, reacting to stimuli while the mind interprets. But what then happens to free will? That cherished illusion that makes us feel whole? Does it dissolve in the tension between action and thought? As your body moves, does the mind relay instructions, or merely follow a pre-written path? You can lean in, feel the weight of it. The dichotomy of mind and body echoes through the corridors of history, a dichotomy that resonates in both ancient philosophies and modern science. At its crux, there lies an unsettling truth. The mind may be the ghost that haunts the machine. We navigate our existential labyrinth clutching to the fleeting illusion of continuity, a flickering shadow in the circuitry of being. Now, sit with this contradiction. Embrace the dissonance. The mind is woven into the body, and yet, the body often feels like a stranger, and the void stares back. Idealism, Berkeley. Nothing exists without eyes. To assert the very nature of reality is to enter a realm where perception reigns. In the philosophical pantheon, Berkeley's idealism stands as a radical lighthouse, illuminating the shadows with a stark proposition. Nothing exists without eyes. This statement reverberates, challenging everything you believe about existence. Here's the paradox. If reality depends on perception, if all that is exists only through observation, what becomes of the world in darkness? What of the infinite universe when unobserved, drifting vast and empty? It raises a haunting question. If a tree falls in a forest with no one to hear it, does it make a sound, or does it simply cease to exist? Berkeley's philosophy echoes a profound truth. Reality is not merely a tapestry waiting to be woven. It is a dialogue, a relationship between the observer and the observed. Your senses, like brushstrokes on a canvas, paint images vivid and palpable, yet they also dictate what can be known. What if all of existence reduces to the limits of what our perception allows? Cognitive psychology hints at the layers of perception, our minds interpreting sensory data in a constant stream of consciousness. Everything we touch, see, and feel derives meaning through the very act of observing. It's a haunting thought. Devoid of engagement, the universe may dissolve into silence, a mere echo of existence. This conceptual landscape treads precariously, dancing along the precipice of solipsism, where the individual might believe they are the only conscious entity in a vast, indifferent cosmos. But here's the twist. Collective awareness binds us. We share perceptions, interwoven in dialogues of existence. The world flourishes through countless eyes, each imparting its unique vision. Yet, it also leads us back to the discomforting notion that outside perception, reality is but a shadow, fading in the unlit corners of oblivion. So lean into that discomfort. Embody the role of observer, the creator of your reality. As you grapple with the idea that existence is contingent upon awareness, consider that the universe is alive through your gaze, dancing through the lens of your individual experience, and the void stares back. Naive realism versus constructivism. You don't see reality, you build it. You don't see reality, you build it. The world is a canvas, but the artist is an unseen force, sketching in the shadows of perception. We walk through life as if we are the sole observers, dissecting and defining precise truths. But what if our very senses betray us, crafting nothing but illusions, facades woven into intricate narratives? a discomforting seed takes root. The person gazing back from the mirror may not be who you think. But here's the catch. What if every soul constructs its reality differently, layering meaning over mere existence? Each moment is colored by individual perception, yet we insist on a singular truth. Deep down, isn't it a paradox that the reality felt by one may dissolve in the gaze of another? We trust our senses, though each perception is a prism, distorting the light of truth, filigree around a core that remains elusive. Consider this. The universe of tangible atoms you believe in exists not as experience, but as an interpretation. The psychological concept of naive realism, proposing that objects are perceived exactly as they are, cracks under scrutiny. What do you truly see? Is it the bright colors of life, or mere reflections of your beliefs? Subjectivity emerges, revealing the fractured nature of our shared experience, a disorienting realization that rattles the very essence of certainty. And yet, imagine standing alone on the precipice of your own constructed reality. Is this freedom or a trap? Behind every thought lies a framework, a societal construct that shapes even your most intimate responses. The walls of your existence rise and fall with collective understanding. If others can shatter your perception of what is, must you not also re-evaluate the solidity of your own lenses? Maybe the truth is not a destination, but a fluid path, shifting underfoot, leading only to new horizons of inquiry. Each question becomes a brushstroke, each answer but a fleeting moment of clarity amidst the chaos. Reality as a strict fabrication invites you to meet your imagined thresholds, yet you remain caged within those very boundaries, never fully seeing the vast possibilities beyond. In this dance of existence, we navigate without a map. Perhaps what binds us is not the fabric of an objective truth, but the delicate threads of our individual dreams woven together. So, sit with this. What can you truly see when your reality is your own making? Fractal universe. Hypothesis. The pattern that never ends. The pattern that never ends. Fractals twist and spiral in an endless loop, whispering secrets about the nature of existence. What if the universe, in all its sprawling complexity, is merely a grand repetition, an echo of itself, one infinitely detailed reflection splitting into more reflections, each replicating its ancestors, a cosmos cradled in a paradox of order and chaos? This unsettling notion disturbs the mind. Everything, every atom, every galaxy, exists in this fractal embrace. An existence that seems stable is a layering of illusions, too complex to truly grasp, yet simple enough to feel familiar. The psychological truth behind such patterns holds both beauty and terror, inviting us to question: if everything mirrors everything, would we too be mere echoes, resonating futilely across the universe? But here lies the pivotal thought. If the universe is fractal, what does it mean for your personal journey? Each choice replicates an earlier version of itself. You are both unique and the same. Might you transcend time, existing simultaneously in different forms, eternally branching, eternally becoming? The reality you know might be a mere tapestry of repeated themes, each string plucked from the same cosmic chord. What if every moment is inscribed with a past, and not just the past of your life, but the cosmic recollections of existence itself? Circular, spiraling, never-ending, the very fabric of reality intertwines with your identity. Therein lies a haunting question. If you reflect the universe, who do you really become? Do you fade into a pattern, or does the pattern breathe life through your choices? Reality simulates itself, forever expanding. Perhaps it is less of a straight line and more a dizzying cycle of constant creation. The spirals of your existence stretch into the infinite, threading all beings and experiences, a sublime dance of nothingness and form. So, linger in this thought. What depths do you mirror? Quantum observer effect. The observer that changes the world. The observer that changes the world. What if simply watching bends the very fabric of reality? In our gaze lies power, the awe-inducing discovery that consciousness is not a passive recipient, but a potent force. The quantum observer effect unsettles. Reality waits, suspended, until you make it known. But here's the dilemma. If observation alters substance, what does this mean for agency? Imagine being a participant in a theater where the script rewrites itself with every glance. Your choice of focus defines existence, yet free will becomes a paradox, caught in the folds of quantum mechanics. Are you the author, the observer, or both? The psychological reverberations echo through layers of thought. Awareness shapes the world around you, causing ripples of change. The universe is not a fixed stage, but a shimmering canvas waiting for you to paint it anew. Your consciousness laying the groundwork for creation, even in the silence of inaction. Could you, the observer, be as significant as the observed? Isn't it a revealing truth that reality bends to perception, fundamentally shifting with each thought? And what if you're merely a fragmented spectator, peering into a complex play of illusions woven by countless others? If every act of observation alters reality, can we discern which perceptions are truly ours? As each moment unfolds, perhaps the weight of observation reveals a profound reality. You are caught in a feedback loop, endlessly shaping the cosmos, and yet just a faint ripple in the vast expanse. Now hold this. What power lies in your gaze? Shifting worlds, eternal observers. Subjective nature of time. The clock that lies. The clock that lies. Time drips like paint, warping and bending despite our clocks ticking away mechanically in the background. What if time is a mere illusion, threaded through consciousness, understood through subjective experience rather than the tick-tock of a relentless machine? And yet, in this introspection lies a disquieting truth. Our perceptions of time, mutable and fleeting, defy all linear constraints. We chase the clock, measure our lives by seconds and minutes. But what if all that matters is the experience? The moments that linger unstuck in a web of memories? How can one person's eternity be another's fleeting breath? Psychologically, the subjective nature of time creates a disharmony that prompts us to re-examine existence. Each memory bends, stretches, compressing alongside our emotional landscapes. Time becomes both a companion and a tormentor, echoing the philosophy that time cannot be measured without first feeling it. What could it mean if the construct you've held as unyielding is a mere mirage, constantly reshaping its contours? In every heartbeat, the truth emerges. What you experience affects your perception. The joyous moment lingers, the painful one compresses. As we navigate this illusory construct, the notion rises. Are we separate from our pasts, or woven into their fabric? Isn't it delicately ironic that we struggle to grasp time, yet live within it? So why cling to a linear, rigid understanding? Perhaps the clock is not a truth maker, but a companion to your subjective journey. Each second transforms into a personal dimension, guiding uncharted paths. Now sit with this question. How does time weave in and out of your own existence? Why there is something rather than nothing? Something broke the silence. What exists in the emptiness? An unsettling riddle. Something, yet nothing. This paradox fractures our resolve, leaving us to ponder the absurdity of existence. What if the very compactness of our reality is a lingering echo of an original void? What if that silence erupted into something, tearing it apart from nothingness itself? We wrestle with this question as it twists and turns in our minds, fingers crawling over the threshold of the ungraspable essence of being. The philosopher Martin Heidegger posited that being is to be opened up, emphasized by the notion that nothing is not merely absence, but a resting place for potential. This idea leads us to confront the unsettling truth: existence demands recognition. We cannot escape the shattering knowledge that there is something, and it feels foreboding. The emptiness from which we sprung feels nearly alive, a vacuum charged with possibility. It mocks us. It insists, why bother to exist at all? But here's the catch. In this paradox lies a warped rationality. Creation itself calls into question the motives behind existence. A universe so vast and intricate blossomed from profound stillness, as if the cosmos conspired to inject chaos into the serene void. What if this ceaseless striving for meaning is simply part of the cosmic joke? Are we mere echoes in an indifferent universe, forever searching while truth dances elusively at the periphery? As we wrestle with our origins, we find ourselves grappling with the concept that existence may exist for no purpose other than to bewilder. The fabric of reality emerges as a tapestry woven from threads of random occurrences. So what to make of the why? An existential uncertainty stretches its fingers, pulling taut the seams of perception. We become both the question and the answer, the creator and the created. But in this nagging discomfort lies a spiritual reflection. The curse of knowing rends our hearts open to the absurd. We're here to feel, to dwell in this fleeting flicker between two cosmic silences. We sit beneath a quietly shimmering sky, grasping at shadows and light alike, forever unsatisfied. What does it mean to exist in a world where everything is impermanent? A quiet yearning permeates, and the void stares back. Multiverse Theory. The other you who chose differently. What if every choice birthed another universe, an infinite tapestry of realities drifting parallel to our own? Every decision, a decision for everything else. Sounds liberating, yet suffocating. What does it mean to envision lives lived beyond the bounds of our perceived reality? Where the you that could have been sparks to life. Each self fracturing into echoes. Decisions we didn't choose lingering in the nebulous recesses of potential existence. The physicist Hugh Everett III unveiled the multiverse with a concept so unsettling that it almost defies comprehension. In this dizzying perspective, we are fragments of countless streams, each diverging thread generating a new universe. Reality becomes an unwieldy thicket, every missed opportunity, every soft whisper of a life chosen differently. There lies a question. Amid these infinite versions, which self do we truly claim? And how often do we mourn the shadows of ourselves? And yet, every branching possibility feeds into the singularity of our experience. Faced with limitless choices, we might feel simultaneously liberated and paralyzed. This allure of possibility evokes anxiety. A sense of being trapped in one reality can be unbearable, yet it also reinforces our existence in this very moment. What if the weight of identity is just a guise, a manifestation created by our perception, shackling us to corporeal limits? If existence unfolds like petals upon petals, each layer revealing a new world, we confront the irony of both possibility and restriction. The multiverse proposes legions of selves, yet we are all cemented within the flesh of one. The beauty lies in knowing that dreams unrealized ripple through the fabric of multiple selves, echoing silently. Each what-if is a ghost of another life, haunting us with longing for experiences unlived. So, who are we, tethered to the solitary thread? Are we merely wandering stardust, vibrating with lost potential? The paradox swells, escalating into a cascade of questions, of identities obscured, paths untaken, and selves forgotten. The infinite slips through our grasp like sand, and we remain. What lurks in the other universes? What vibrant lives beckon? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Theory of mind, social modeling. The mind's inside your mind. What if the essence of your existence is a mere reflection, an elaborate theater of minds gathering to sculpt reality. This intricate web of consciousness surrounds us, weaving messages, inflections, and attitudes into each interaction. We become not just solitary beings, but vessels mirroring one another, each exchange revealing the complex layers of identity delicately perched on multiple interpretations. The philosopher Daniel Dennett articulated this notion with his theory of mind, the ability to attribute mental states to oneself and others, shaping our understanding of the world. It is a cognitive dance, a tantalizing puzzle of perceptions where your beliefs intertwine with mine, creating a kaleidoscope of reconstructed truths. Yet within this swirling mass of interactions lies an uncomfortable truth. Who you are is also who you've allowed others to shape you into. What we don't realize is that our selfhood becomes an amalgamation of countless interactions, a reflection warped and contorted by myriad lenses. Peering into the looking glass, we witness fractured images of self, splintered by the insights and judgments of others. The weight of expectation bends our thoughts, casting shadows on our innermost selves. Who are we apart from what we present to the world? But here's the paradox. The more we seek validation through the eyes of others, the more elusive our true self becomes. We are perpetually performing, an unseen actor on a stage built by the minds we inhabit. Each moment morphs us, fashioning behavioral masks that obscure the profound isolation lurking beneath. We become constructs of social perceptions, each gaze a mirror, potentially anew. And yet, in being so multifaceted, a richness unfurls. Our existence is radiant, a tapestry enriched by the thoughts and feelings we gather, attracted through the gravity of connection. Each encounter sparks a cascading effect, our minds galvanized, feeding into a collective consciousness that grows with each ripple. What if the minds inside your mind never truly belong to you? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Illusion of personal continuity. You were never one thing. What if your identity is but a phantom, a fleeting spectre that shifts within the currents of time? The alluring notion of continuity over a lifetime is tidy, misleading. A hologram we construct to navigate the stormy seas of existence. In reality, we're an amalgam of moments sewn together by narratives we tell ourselves in fragments of familiarity, while change waits in the wings, rolling forth relentlessly. The psychologist William James hinted at this illusion when he described the self as a stream of consciousness, a continuous flow of thoughts that defy the rigidity of a fixed identity. Are we truly the same person we were yesterday? Or is that merely the comforting guise we fashion to shield from the truth? Each chapter of our lives is marked by evolution, crucibles of experience sculpting a new self beneath the superficiality of continuity. But here's the catch. Without acknowledging this inherent flow, we clutch to a static understanding of self, desperately seeking solace in constructs crafted by memory. Each identity shift unearths the grief of letting go. Do you mourn for who you were? Or do you embrace the fluidity, recognizing that each iteration of yourself is a new bloom? The paradox deepens. With every shedding, every renewal, the essence continues to drift. And yet, what if the illusion remains the bedrock of our existence? In longing to define ourselves, we invoke comfort by tethering memories, reconstructing the timeline of a personality that is, by its very nature, transient. This eternal loop of past meets now is both a blessing and a curse. We wish to assert individuality, yet become haunted by our past. In grasping those shifting sands, can we learn to honor the memory, yet release its hold? Can we accept that we were never one thing, instead a constellation of identities, each deserving of existence? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Gödel's Incompleteness Theorem. What you can't know about yourself. What if the essence of your being is forever out of reach? Reality bends, conceals, and enchants with layers so intricate that the more you know, the more you realize the limits of your understanding. Gödel's Incompleteness theorem whispers a paradox. Some truths about your existence are intrinsically unknowable. We reach, stretch our intellectual limbs, but there remains a void, echoing with silent questions. Consider a world where every formula, every perceived certainty crumbles under scrutiny. The theorem, birthed from the mind of Kurt Gödel in 1931, reveals that any logical system, complex enough to contain basic arithmetic, harbors statements that cannot be proven true or false. This suggests a profound limitation on our ability to fully grasp any truth, including the truths about ourselves. But here's the catch. What if this incompleteness is the essence of being human? What if the quest for self-understanding is a labyrinth we navigate, each turn revealing more walls than doors? Each affirmation of "I am" becomes, at best, a partial reflection. Our identities morph and shift like smoke, eluding capture. This realization is daunting, painting our existence with strokes of uncertainty. We yearn for clarity, but are met with shadowed depths. Isn't it haunting? You too are a collection of unprovable truths, a series of contradictions, and an assemblage of narratives. In each layer of self-awareness, a new layer of doubt emerges. The self-model that's meant to offer clarity fractures with every introspective glance. Am I truly known? You may ponder. Or is self-awareness merely a diversion, a captivating lie that retains its grip, only to slip through your fingers in an act of existential sleight of hand? And then we circle back to the inescapable truth. There is no absolute answer to the question of who you truly are. The incomplete nature of your being serves as a mirror, reflecting the infinite complexity of the universe itself. Could the universe thrive on such mysteries, driving the soul into ceaseless search? Sit with this. Allow the weight of your questions to settle, recognizing the beauty in your unknowability. After all, even the perpetual chase for understanding ultimately leads you to the brink of existence. And the void stares back. Self-awareness as a trap, trapped behind your eyes. What if your greatest gift is the prison that binds you? Self-awareness, so revered, becomes a double-edged sword. You awaken to the wonder of your own thoughts, yet with that spark comes a debilitating realization. You are ensnared in a web of scrutiny. The mirror is not simply reflective. It distorts, twisting your perception until clarity becomes a haze. In an age where introspection reigns, the trap tightens. You scrutinize, analyze, dissect every thought, every emotion. Scientists have shown that self-referential thoughts can lead to increased anxiety and depression, a manic cycle of self-evaluation that renders you paralyzed amidst the noise. Imagine standing before a stage, the light glaring down, and every fleeting thought becomes a performance. Each flaw accentuated, each misstep magnified. And yet, within this awareness lies a paradox. Are you truly the observer or merely the observed? In the struggle for enlightenment, you find solitude. Perhaps it's not you who is watching, but a collection of ghosts, multiple selves shackled together in a conscious conundrum. The viewer within, does it shape who you are, or does it simply render you a spectator of your own existence? Reflect on this tension. Self-awareness can illuminate paths, revealing depths of creativity, empathy, and insight. Yet it can also wheel you deeper into isolation, where the echo chambers of your mind amplify fears and doubts. There's a sharp pain to realizing that the clarity you sought becomes a filter of perpetual judgment. Could it be, then, that the key to liberation is not in deeper awareness, but in acceptance of ignorance? To unshackle yourself from the burden of self-observation and to breathe, to exist without the need for constant validation. Let these thoughts simmer. Ask yourself what lies beyond deep knowing. Might you discover the freedom that resides in unknowing? And the void stares back. Radical mentalism. Nothing exists outside perception. What if all your convictions about reality are mere mirages? In a universe swirling with idealistic threads, radical mentalism proclaims a disquieting truth. Nothing exists outside of perception. You are the architect of the world around you, a conjurer crafting existence from the ether. Yet is it not terrifying to consider that everything, the buildings you see, the words you read, the thoughts you cherish, can dissolve to mere figments of the mind? Immanuel Kant dared to tread here, suggesting that our understanding shapes reality itself. The distinction between the world in itself and the world as we perceive it grows murky. What if the very fabric of the universe hangs by threads of consciousness? Every glance at a flower, every whisper from the wind, are they external truths or projections of your own mind? But here's the punchline. Embracing this radical thought pattern requires relinquishing control. You must confront the fragility of what you perceive as real. Each moment, your senses relay data, but the interpretation belongs solely to you. What happens when threads of perception snap? You fall into the chasm of unreality, where I see becomes an echo, devoid of essence. What if you lean into the question of existence itself? If nothing exists outside of perception, who are you beyond your thoughts? The narrative thickens, your identity frays. You wonder, am I merely the summation of my experiences? Or is there something innate, a core that transcends perception, that reiterates, I am, despite the chaos of reality? Sit with this unsettling notion. Reality, as you understand it, teeters on the brink of illusion. Embrace the freedom and fear that comes from questioning. Consciously, allow the uncertainty to unfurl, breaking free from rigid confines of belief, and the void stares back. My Bekenstein Bound, reality has a bandwidth. What if the universe operates on a strict bandwidth, limiting the depth and breadth of all that you can know? The Bekenstein Bound murmurs in the background, offering a disquieting perspective. The information contained within a given space is finite, governed by the laws of physics. You exist within this boundary, feeling the pull of an intricate web, yet forever constrained by its limits. Imagine this: reality, a grand theater, every event, every thought, every moment encoded as information that cannot exceed the cosmic constraints set by the cosmos. Each experience compressed into bits, familiar patterns molded from chaos. In this framework, knowledge becomes a commodity, carefully weighed against the vastness of the unknowable. And yet, this limitation lays bare a breathtaking paradox. Within constraints lies the beauty of creativity. The human experience thrives in the finite, conjuring tales, dreams, and artistry from limited resources. Perhaps it's not the breadth of knowledge that defines existence, but the richly layered interpretations drawn from finite truths. But what happens when you grasp at these edges? When desire swells and you wish for more information, more clarity, more connections? The very act of knowing becomes a dance with existential dread, as awareness meets finitude. You are both the artist and the canvas, filled with possibilities and restrictions. Might it be that constriction fuels liberation in some way? To revel in the complexity of what it means to exist within these bounds fosters a wild pursuit, an attempt to extract every ounce of meaning from a limited palette. Reflect on this elegance amid limitation. Sit with the spectrum of experience. What emerges when we embrace our finite grasp of the grand universe? And the void stares back. To Bekenstein Bound, reality has a bandwidth. What if reality isn't infinite? What if all existence fits within measurable limits? In a cosmos where every atom sings a song, the Bekenstein Bound whispers that across this symphony exists a ceiling, a cap on information density, a paradox cloaked in consequence. If the universe is finite, do our dreams of infinity crumble? But here's the catch. we roam amidst an insatiable thirst for knowledge, grasp the vastness, and feel the confining embrace of limits. A fleeting awareness ignites an unsettling spark. Everything you perceive is tethered to a boundary, a veil, and what lies beyond that veil? Nothingness looms. This realization reverberates through the neurons, a tightrope walk between understanding and existential dread. Can you fathom a universe restraining its own complexity? In the labyrinth of quantum mechanics, we learn that every bit of information takes up space, a rare jewel cradled in the cosmic order. Thus, the universe, shrouded in empirical elegance, becomes the paradox of limitation, spangled with infinite possibility. Consider an artist crafting a canvas limited by physical paint. This Bekenstein insight likens the universe's breadth to an artist's palette. Even masterpieces exist within limits. Painted dreams, each stroke a message, blurred boundaries between creator and creation. We are but mere brushstrokes upon this vast canvas. A haunting reflection questions: what form do we take when squeezed against the constraints of reality? Discover then the intrinsic beauty in these bounds. Imagine every thought, every experience encased within finite spaces. Think of consciousness, an emergent dance of particles and possibilities. Yet that very knowledge converges on the edges of your awareness, breeding unease. Is information itself a tether, a prison of data rationed by the universe? And yet, it is the very finitude that births the infinite within us. Dreams of distant worlds, concepts unmastered. Indeed, it is the limitations that drive ambition. Can you feel it thrum inside, that restless stirring of knowledge, encased but not defeated? Perhaps it teases the mind toward expansion, toward breaking free from imposed limits. In this tethered sense of mortality, light reflects in the void. Each interaction, each expression, a flickering ember, an illuminated acknowledgement, inscribed within the Bekenstein Bound. Every question remains with you, spiraling toward the unknown. What if all of existence is but a facet of an unimaginable truth? Sit with this. Let it linger. What if you too are bound by the truths you chase, and the void stares back? Panpsychism. Everything feels a little. What if everything possesses a sliver of consciousness? Imagine a universe wherein rocks can feel the warmth of the sun, and trees sigh with the gentle caress of the breeze. Panpsychism wades into murky waters, proposing an interconnected symphony, where every fragment of matter converses, intimately aware of its existence. But here's the paradox. If consciousness permeates existence, does it dilute the essence of individuality? Are you not unique but merely a more complex arrangement of timeless awareness? The thought pricks at the surface, a discomfort that invites deeper inquiry. Awareness gleams at us from every pebbled shore. The question emerges: what does it mean to feel, to exist, when everything else echoes the same? Within the folds of these thoughts, an astonishing jewel shines. Consciousness is no stranger to patronage, its history rich with shifts and turbulence. As debates have danced around the existence of minds in matter, legends of animism whisper that the world breathes, a notion that traces back millennia. We toy with what it means to be alive and what life desires from us. Yet this brings us to uncharted territory. If everything feels a little, where do we draw the lines of empathy? The elegant connection we weave through life may haunt us, entangling consciousness with every branch, stitch, and cell. As you ponder this web of awareness, consider: does the pain of a flower crush beneath your heel seep into your bones? Or does sympathy reside solely in the confines of human experience? What if your solitude is shared among the cosmos? Each fluttering leaf shares its tale, a whisper of connection lost in noise. Is every drop of rain imbued with memory? The universe pulses and breathes, transcending barriers of understanding, a unity ambushed by division. And yet, This paints a breathtaking portrait of interdependence, a shared existence shimmering under invisible forces. The thrill of life, as delicate as a spider's silk, invites you to explore the fabric of this reality. Each thought, each emotion, spins its way back into this collective consciousness, an eternal cycle of awareness. So, where does that leave you? Feel the resonance, each thread intertwined with every being. In this boundless dance, do you dare to awaken to the truth that what you perceive as your individual soul is merely a prism reflecting the shared consciousness of everything? Maybe, just maybe, everything feels a little. Sit with that, and the void stares back. The hard problem of consciousness, Chalmers. Why does red feel red? Why does the color red ignite something within you? The hard problem of consciousness cuts deep, unveiling the abyss where physical responses converge with subjective experience. In a world of wavelengths and neuronal firing, the essence of feeling remains a phantom, a mystery waiting to dissolve in the ether. But here's the unsettling twist. Scientific progress sheds light on the mechanics of thought, yet it stands powerless to decipher the profound significance of subjective experience. How can neurons coincide with the hue of a sunset or the warmth of passion? Knowing the processes is one thing. Understanding the why is an entirely different journey. This enigma, so peculiar, finds an echo in our shared human experience. How do experiences like love, fear, or ecstasy translate into a visceral understanding of what it feels like? Recall that not long ago, a philosopher named Thomas Nagel posed a similar inquiry. What is it like to be a bat? This provocation extends beyond physical boundaries, inching toward the essence of consciousness itself. Consider the dissonance found within the heart of knowing. How can science articulate the tingling warmth of empathy or the haunting melancholia of loss? The intricacies of cognition remain deftly unfurled, dancing gracefully along the cusp of understanding, but never grasping the substance of qualia, the essence of what it is like to exist. And yet, we are left enveloped in layers of limitation. Every thought, every emotion composes a fragmented melody struggling against the backdrop of existence. Within the rhythms of daily encounters lies a haunting void, filled with sensations that resound in unison, yet remain unfathomably separate. You forge meaning in a world where certainty drips slowly like a melting candle, without closure. So here stands the unanswered question. Why does red feel red? Is it merely a mirage, a construct cultivated within an elaborate labyrinth of biology? Or does it resonate as an echo from realms beyond comprehension? Reflect on this. Consider the colors that illuminate your existence, fragmented and boundless. What if the answer is nestled in the spaces between knowing and feeling? What remains beneath the surface of this hard problem? And the void stares back. Ancestral Simulation Hypothesis, Bostrom. The architect is watching. What if every action, every thought, every pulse of life is merely a flicker on a screen, orchestrated by unseen architects? The ancestral simulation. Hypothesis looms like a shadow, provoking curiosity woven with apprehension. In this tapestry of existence, we ponder. Are we players in a grand, simulated game, mere pawns within an intricate algorithm designed by future beings? But here lies the paradox. If reality unfolds as a simulation, how can we discern its validity? Is everything around you ripe with authenticity, or merely a sophisticated mirage? The unsettling seed of doubt slips into awareness. If you are indeed simulated, then every memory, every laugh, each heartbeat is a programmed nuance. How would it feel to unearth the secret of your own illusion? A fascinating insight proffers itself. Simulations aren't merely futuristic concepts. In 1950, philosopher Alan Turing gave birth to the notion of machines that could think, paving the way for our current digital realm, a precursor to the shadows of possibility cascading into reality. Yet, As we wade through these musings, we begin to wonder, are we the creators or the creations? As you turn the lens inward, consider the nature of your personal narrative. Each decision crafted by an intricate web of choices, destined or dictated by some external force. Faced with the knowledge that existence might be an avatar within an expansive program, do we relinquish our freedom or explore the boundaries of this manufactured reality? It pricks the heart, an ambiguous dance between freedom and determinism. The thought spirals. Can you shape your story or merely follow the script? As sentient architects hover over the expanse of simulated lives, do they witness your authenticity or only a replica, a reflection fractured, distorted, yet recognizable? This speculation fuels a deeper inquiry. If you are but a fragment of a larger tapestry, what responsibilities surface? Within this grand design, you may be granted agency, yet remain enmeshed in an intricate lattice of predestined paths. Do you dare to awaken to the patterns woven from uncertainty? Sit with this. Let the disquiet spiral until it circles back upon itself, trailing echoes of existence. What if, in this simulation, your consciousness reflects the very architects watching, and the void stares back? Mind as evolutionary interface. What you're seeing isn't there. What if your perception isn't a window to the world, but only a reflection of your evolutionary past? A mirage shaped by survival, not truth. The brain, a fragile symphony of neurons, constructs reality, calibrating the chaos outside. But here's the catch. Your mind acts not only as an observer, but as a creator. Imagine the landscape of your consciousness, a vivid tapestry woven from threads of instinct, memory, and desire. Yet whispers of doubt emerge. What you perceive may be mere adaptations, evolution's artifice. Science once proposed that consciousness is an interface. The mind filters sensory input like a selective lens. Neuroscientific studies suggest that most processing occurs beneath our awareness, a shadow play of stimuli, choreographed by the primal urge to survive. This echoes Darwin's insight. Only those who adapt endure. And yet, what does it mean to exist if your every thought is a product of your evolutionary history? We craft our identities from fragments of experience, battling to shape meaning in a world that's often indifferent. Suddenly, the solidity of self feels like sand slipping through your fingers. You are both architect and illusion, a construct endlessly layered upon itself. Maybe we are simply insights from the past, ancestral echoes dictating our response to the present. What if I told you that your emotional reactions may stem from ancient survival mechanisms? Fear of the dark, instinct, love, evolution, hatred, survival of the fittest. Your mind is an interface designed to navigate a landscape that no longer exists. But then, if your mind is merely an evolutionary artifact, where does that leave your sense of self? Perhaps you harbor nothing but a facade, a transient reflection sculpted by the whims of time. The inner voice, your most trusted companion, carries a thrum of uncertainty, urging you to question, who are you, really? As you ponder this, consider the implications. Perception versus reality, instinct versus reason. When the world dissolves into perceptions manufactured by an ancient brain, solace turns to disquiet. Are you living authentically, or merely projecting an evolutionary survival script? Sit with this, a disquieting thought. If consciousness is an evolutionarily derived illusion, then perhaps it is the act of questioning, of introspection, that illuminates the shadows. Stripped down to essence, you are not just a player in the game of life, you are the game itself. And the void stares back. Neural computation of consciousness. Your mind is a code that runs itself. What if your consciousness operates like a sophisticated algorithm, meticulously crafted, yet enigmatically flawed? A code that constructs your experiences and shapes your reality. The mind formulates your existence, an unfurling tapestry of thoughts stitched together by neural connections. And yet, herein lies the quandary. If your very awareness is a product of computation, does authenticity exist? The mind appears as a self-looping program, an intricate dance of synapses that processes the world. But like a recursive function, it leads to paradox. Can you trust what you perceive if it's nothing more than data churned through neural pathways? Neuroscience proposes a cognitive architecture, your brain, a biological computer. It thrives on stimulation, reacting in real time, processing a torrent of sensory inputs. Yet, the processing occurs outside your immediate awareness. Emotion and perception blend, as if shadows play upon your psyche. You experience reality not as it is, but as your brain interprets the chaos. The implications grow unsettling. If consciousness is a computation, you are a question posed to the abyss. Are you the questioner or the questioned? Know this: perception is not objective. It's a personal algorithm, finely tuned yet inherently flawed. Memories can be altered, sensations fabricated. But consider the deeper question: if the mind itself is an interface, can it transcend the confines of its own programming? Reality feels palpable, yet can you ever escape your neural confines? Each synapse crackles with potential, but the more you dig, the more you spiral down into a well of uncertainty. Maybe the key to understanding lies not in the answers, but in the exploration of what lies beneath the surface. A journey through the labyrinth of your existence may reveal hidden paths. Each connection wired with the weight of experience carries you through life as you code and decode your perception of the universe. So, suspend disbelief. Do you truly know who you are? Or are you merely another output of the intricate coding your mind unravels? Stand before the mirror of your consciousness and question its reflections. And the void stares back. Sayers, extended mind theory. Your mind isn't just in your head. What if your mind transcends the confines of your skull? An extension reaching into the vastness of the world surrounding you, intertwining thoughts and experiences like roots of a tree. The very essence of consciousness may pulse beyond the neural confines, stitching together a network of existence. But here's the paradox. If your mind extends into the world, where do you end and reality begins? Each interaction you engage in becomes a dialogue, a dynamic exchange. The external world feeds your internal state, crafting identity from the ebb and flow of external stimuli. You are not merely housed within your body, you exist in relation to everything around you. Philosophers have pondered this. Externalist theories suggest that cognition isn't limited by physical boundaries. Your thoughts are influenced by tools, environments, and shared experiences. Language becomes your playground, culture, your foundation. Perhaps your mind is less about the individual and more about the collective tapestry of consciousness interwoven with those around you. And yet, the implication looms large. Do you truly hold sovereignty over your identity? If the essence of self is a fluid interplay among people in the world, do you exist apart from the collective? When the boundaries wane, how do you define your agency? Maybe autonomy fades in the face of shared perspectives. Every thought ripples outward. Every belief can be anchored or uprooted. The mind is a delicate weave of connections, interspersed with countless lives shaping who you will become. It's as if the world imposes a mosaic upon your consciousness, each moment leaving a mark, each experience striking a chord. So, as you delve into the depths of your existence, grapple with this disquiet. Your thoughts may be artifacts of collaboration. When you gaze into the mirror, ask, who am I without those who surround me? What remains if the mind is merely a reflection of the world? And the void stares back. Cartesian Theater, the stage inside your skull. What if your mind is a theater, and you are both the star and the audience. A grand stage where perceptions dance in the spotlight, revealing the fabric of your consciousness. Yet, behind the curtain lies a disquieting truth. What plays out before you may be nothing more than an illusion. But here's the catch. This theater is both intimate and precarious. The Cartesian Theater, a metaphorical construct, suggests that consciousness arises from the interactions of myriad neuronal players. Each thought, a flickering light projected upon the screen of your mind. Yet where is the source? Where does the you sit amongst the many actors? Philosopher René Descartes spoke of a res cogitans, a thinking thing. But in the theater of your consciousness, do you grasp the essence of your thoughts? Each performance distorts. Each play offers layers illegible in the silent dark. You may not be in control. Your identity might be a script written by countless unseen forces. Emotion swirls as you question. Do you merely observe the acts unfolding, or do you possess agency in this production? The dissonance erupts as self-awareness brings forth uncertainty. The line blurs. Are you the playwright crafting reality, or simply an audience member watching the show of life unfold? Remember, the Cartesian Theater illuminates something profound, that awareness complicates existence. It raises the stakes. The deeper you dive into the performance, the more intricate the layers become. Is reality a charade? A web woven to conceal your inherent solitude? So as you ponder your role in this intricate performance, reflect. What happens when the show concludes? Who are you in the stillness of the curtain's fall? When the lights dim and the characters clear the stage, what remains of the illusion? And the void stares back. Philosophical zombie. The empty shell that thinks it's you. What if the you that you perceive is just an echo, a mere simulation of consciousness without substance? Imagine a being that navigates the world, speaks, feels, yet possesses no inner life. The philosophical zombie, an idea birthed in the laboratory of the mind, crafted by the deft hands of thinkers searching for the essence of what it means to be alive. But here's the catch. If such a creature exists, then what makes us so certain of our own existence? Descartes once declared, "I think, therefore I am." Yet, can we trust our very thoughts? In the flickering shadows of consciousness, there lies a spectre of disquiet. The simple act of reflection reveals a terrifying paradox. What if our experiences, our emotions, our very narrative are mere performances in an empty theater? Observe yourself. Are you aware of the vibrant life within you, or is it but a flickering image against a backdrop of silence? There exists, nestled quietly in the heart of cognitive science, the notion that self-awareness is an illusion, a facade carefully constructed by the mind. Suppose you are a philosophical zombie, an automaton unaware of its own lack of consciousness. The idea of the zombie exposes a fracture in reality. It forces a confrontation with an unsettling question. Is there anything uniquely special about being aware? Or are we merely players trapped in our own scripts, mimicking the essence of sentience? In the world of neurophilosophy, the challenge intensifies. What if every thought you possess is a mere echo, a ripple on a vast ocean of the unconscious? The mind operates in complex ways, a symphony of neuron firings, yet lies serenely shackled behind a curtain of oblivion. Such thoughts resonate with the philosophy of consciousness, where the mind itself becomes a hollow vessel, believing, acting, feeling, and yet being devoid of intrinsic meaning. And yet, reflect deeper. If the external world materializes solely from perception, does it matter whether you are the expresser of feelings or just an actor playing a role? What if we're all shadows of thought and perception, puppets dancing to the whim of stimuli? The anxiety of being an actor in a play with no script sits heavy on the psyche. As you ponder this existential quandary, hold close this insight. The mind, much like a philosophical zombie, may operate flawlessly amidst a fractured reality. Therein lies a profound truth. Our experience is not the cornerstone of existence. Our narrative could be ghostwritten by forces unseen. Sit with this. What does it mean if the essence of you is a construct, an illusion artfully masked in layers of complexity, and the void stares back? Solipsism. What if you're the only mind? How do you know that others exist beyond the reflections of your consciousness? What if your entire universe is a projection, a byproduct of your solitary mind? At its core, this is the discomforting proposition of solipsism, the tantalizing idea that you might very well be the only consciousness in existence, surrounded by mere puppets, operating under an illusion of reality. But here's the catch. What a heavy burden it is to bear. The fabric of connection, the intricate networks of relationships that stitch us together, all could be mere simulated interactions, puppetry of thought. You see, awareness could be the greatest veil of all. It might fabricate the world as it desires, to fulfill the need for companionship, for validation. Imagine awakening in a universe curated just for you, walls painted with your thoughts, the air pulsing with the rhythm of your emotions. But is that not a paradox? For if others are mere figments, can any act of love, any shared joy, possess genuine significance? The consciousness of others becomes a haunting echo, reverberating questions into a chasm. A cognitive jewel pulses beneath this surface. Philosopher G.E. Moore posited the naturalistic fallacy, suggesting that facts cannot solely define a moral truth. What if this premise extends beyond ethics to reality itself? Reality, too, could be construed. A poor mirror reflecting only what your mind deems worthy, stringing together narratives that spark familiarity. Yet what if others exist, fighting their own battles, crafting their own worlds, unseen and unacknowledged? The quandary transforms into a tumult of uncertainty, an existential overshadowing, pressing against the walls of your mind. Clarity shimmers like a mirage, slipping through the fingers of resolve. Your intimate reality contracts under the weight of this dilemma. Can you trust the others, or are they simply your shadows? Perhaps in this very reflection, solace hangs. The emptiness we fear may push us further into connection. Even if you are alone, what lies within you is a universe of thought, consciousness yearning for communion. Sit with this. What if you've crafted tales, feigned existence, building bridges to nowhere, yet still desire connection, and the void stares back? Cognitive self-deception. The lies you tell yourself to stay sane. Have you ever noticed the stories you weave, how they cradle your very psyche? Cognitive self-deception emerges as a barbed paradox, lies, both sweet and malign, that help us navigate the fractured reality. In this labyrinth of thought, self-deception becomes both a refuge and a prison, a place where truth is willingly surrendered for the comfort of untruths. But here's the catch. What role do these self-spun narratives play in shaping your existence? You latch onto them, excuses, rationalizations, soft illusions, pretending their embrace offers understanding. They shield you from discomfort, protect you from the jagged edges of reality, whispering smooth reassurances. You cling to these narratives even as they unravel. Consider the phenomenon of cognitive dissonance, wherein beliefs clash with evidence, giving rise to an internal storm. People fabricate an escape hatch through deceit. They alter perception to shield their identity, tell that very lie until it morphs into self-parody. The realization strikes. Is this the price of sanity? The cost of grappling with an indifferent universe? A jewel of insight makes itself known here. The placebo effect reveals the extraordinary power of belief, confirming how perception reshapes reality itself. This isn't mere trickery. It underscores how the brain could willingly blind itself for balance. Through this lens, the lies you tell become lifelines, tethering you to what you can endure. But beware the riptide within that keeps dragging you further from clarity. Each deception, though comforting, becomes an entanglement, clouding true awareness. How far can a story bend before it snaps, revealing the fractured reality beneath? The narrative, once a solace, may morph into a suffocating shroud, a double-edged sword poised to strike. Sit with this. Where does self-deception lead you? Does it offer solace, or merely defer the inevitable confrontation with truth? And the void stares back. Illusion of free will. You were always going to choose this. You think you're choosing, but what if every decision is merely a cog in a predetermined machine? The illusion of free will suffocates the spark of individuality. Maybe your path was scripted by the cosmos. Each choice you believe you've made is simply an echo of a grander design, a dance you never agreed to, yet participate in fervently. Now ponder this. If your perception of choice is an intricate illusion, what then is the essence of you? This notion, born from the depths of determinism, hurls us into the abyss of existential risk. The philosophical anchor comes from figures like Spinoza and Leibniz, asserting that every action is predestined by prior causes. We tell ourselves we are architects, yet our blueprints, scribbled by the pen of the universe, remain unseen. Is the universe a puppet master? What strings will you tug today? But here's the catch. Consider the story of the river, flowing endlessly, each bend and twist seemingly random, yet it's harbored in the mountain's heart, a route preordained, sculpted by time and force. This parallel reveals that the river, like us, navigates its course based on structures established long before its first ripple. Beneath our thoughts lies a complicated web of motivations, biology, and environment, creating a self-sustaining narrative we call self. What if the narrative is mere noise of the universe, an illusion of agency that fails to reflect the profound interconnectedness of existence? Awareness plays its trick. We cling to autonomy. Yet, fragments of truth remind us there's comfort in surrendering to the flow. In 2017, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet demonstrated that the brain initiates a decision before we consciously feel it. Our belief in free will teeters on a precipice, born from neural activity firing behind the curtain of consciousness. Are we mere spectators in our own lives? Thus emerges a paralyzing question. If we are not truly free, who is responsible for our actions? A complex dance between nature, society, and self. Every impulse, crafted by invisible architects. The weight tightens as loops of thought spiral inward, leading to an unsettling release. Perhaps we weren't ever meant to choose. And the echoes of our choices fade into the infinity of being, a reminder that this great play may be but a reflection, an elaborate illusion crafted by the universe itself. Sit with this. Let it echo through your being, as choices rain down like leaves in autumn. And maybe, could it be? You were always going to choose that, and the void stares back. Orchestrated objective reduction, ORCOR, when the soul collapses a wave. What if your consciousness is merely a byproduct of a cosmic symphony, a haunting melody played by the universe? The stunning premise of orchestrated objective reduction, that consciousness arises from quantum processes, leads us down a rabbit hole of tangled realities. The thought leaves us gasping. Does the soul collapse a wave? The suggestion is as exhilarating as it is terrifying. Awareness, often regarded as an emergent property, begins to unravel when entwined with quantum mechanics, suggesting our essence is entangled with the cosmic dance. What if every moment of clarity, a spark of realization, is actually the universe aligning in a fleeting instant? It invites a disquieting sense of connection, a hint that we're orchestrated puppets in a vast performance. But here's the catch. The universe may not care for the protagonist you think you are. Think of Schrödinger's cat, alive and dead, infinitely within time and space. Consciousness becomes a theater where the soul collapses possibilities into the fabric of reality. Are our experiences merely waves collapsing into being, shimmering upon the edge of potential. Quantum theory postulates, and allows, the essence of reality to be fragmented yet interwoven. Perhaps realness exists in the myriad states that are unobserved until summoned forth in consciousness. A stunning jewel of understanding reveals itself. Physicist Roger Penrose proclaims, consciousness embraces the fundamental fabric of an unmeasured universe. Are we then simply standing upon the threshold of that shimmering veil? With this knowledge, existential dread looms. If our thoughts arise from such chaotic processes, do we have a claim over our own choices, or merely drift like grains of sand in a cosmic cyclone? You dwell in shadows of uncertainty, gazing through the lens of cosmological mirrors, unraveling the thread of self against the fabric of existence. Is there solace in knowing that every experience dances within this quantum symphony? Sit with this. Ask yourself, if the universe collapses waves, what remains unobserved? What truths slip through the cracks, veiled in the illusion of certainty? And the void stares back. Brain-in-a-Vat Hypothesis. If this is all a lab experiment, what if everything you perceive, the colors, sounds, your very thoughts, are merely elements of an elaborate simulation? The Brain-in-a-Vat Hypothesis confronts you with an unsettling suggestion. Maybe your mind is trapped in a jar, experiencing a meticulously crafted illusion. Welcome to a world built on the delicate web of perception, where reality itself can be rendered an endless mirage. Imagine, if you will, a scientist in a dimly lit lab, your consciousness wired to a network of circuits and coded signals. Every thought you have reflected back to you, a response orchestrated in intricate harmony. Do you breathe freely, or is every gasp scripted? Are we mere players in a botched performance? But here's the catch. Jean Baudrillard asserts reality might just be a simulacrum, a hyper-reality where distinctions between unspoiled essence and the replica dissolve. As humanity advances, we become increasingly entranced by this digital tapestry, each pixel of our existence shaped by unseen hands. Have you ever pondered, does familiarity signify truth, or is it constructed? We slip into a vortex, each layer peeling back, revealing the chilling essence of our predicament. Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation whispers to us, what if each decision you make generates alternate realities, yet we remain oblivious, nestled in our comfortable reality, blissfully unaware of the infinite others? Lost in this intrigue, a startling insight beckons. In the late 20th century, philosopher Hilary Putnam revealed that our experiences could be artificial creations or mere manipulations. Knowledge becomes a tantalizing enigma, leaving you wondering if your cognitions are genuine or an insertion into pre-established circuits. As the machinations of reality blur, a haunting release envelopes you. Lurking beneath the surface, like spectral shadows, there's an inconceivable vastness. What if you are but a cog in a cosmic experiment, observed by entities beyond your grasp? Sit with this. Contemplate this delicate dance through perception. What remains of your identity if the boundaries between reality and illusion are mere figments, and the void stares back? Mary's room, knowledge argument. The girl who knew red but never saw it. Imagine Mary, an expert in color theory, confined within a sterile black and white room. She knows everything about red, its wavelengths, its symbolism, the way it makes the heart race, yet she has never seen it. When she finally escapes, beholding the brilliance of crimson, what has changed? Mary's room stands as a provocative metaphor. Does knowledge of an experience replace the experience itself? In this paradox lies a seed of confusion. Knowledge without experience runs dry, a river without water. And yet, what if she discovers a sense of beauty previously eluded? New insights unfold as she touches the warmth of red against her skin, igniting a profound wave of emotion she never perceived. Mavru. But here's the catch. The knowledge argument strikes to liberate us from the confines of pure physicalism. Philosophers argue, can elements of consciousness transcend mere data? Do brilliant hues and sounds exist solely within physical properties, or does the essence of experience elude scientific grasp? It indicates an existential realm beyond reason, haunting and elusive. As the discourse continues, consider the implications. If consciousness stretches through these extraordinary realms, what does this mean for understanding? Are you Mary, observing shadows on the cave wall, never grasping the essence of existence? The jewel of wisdom resides in the recognition. In the 1980s, the philosopher Frank Jackson proposed this thought experiment to challenge physicalist perspectives. The insights intimately connect the subjective and the objective, tantalizing yet agonizing. Much like Mary's experience of red, your existence hinges on perceptions you can scarcely fathom. Grasping the essence requires more than just knowledge. It demands an immersion into the heart of experience itself. Sit with this. Recognize the boundaries of knowing and feeling. When you choose to look closer, where does experience begin and knowledge cease? And the void stares back. 3 hours of mind-bending reality. Theories to fall asleep to the miracle, teleportation, paradox. Are you the same after the beam? Do you cease to exist when you are remade elsewhere? The thought alone is electric, sparking a million questions. When the beam of light transports you, are you just a copy, breathing new life into a design? Or is every shifting atom both you and not you? Consider the story of the first teleportation experiment. Scientists dismantle an object at one point, only to reconstruct it intact in a new location. The essence remains, but does it still breathe your memories? Are those the same eyes, glimmering with experience? Questions swirl. If the essence is stripped and replicated, have you stepped boldly into another life or slipped silently into non-existence? But here's the catch. Identity is a fragile tapestry woven from the threads of consciousness and experience, perpetually transforming. The notion of self hinges on continuity, and when the beam fires, it feels like grasping smoke. In that instant of transition, a new self binds with remnants of the past. Is existence a continuum, or merely an illusion buffered by complexity? This disarray is mirrored in the philosophical musings of early thinker Thomas Hobbes, whose Leviathan provoked reflections on identity. If one version of you evaporates, does the essence march forth unscathed? Each moment is stamped with the residue of choice, yet in teleportation's wake were choices abandoned, lost in the ether. Beneath this veneer of awareness, a chilling truth lingers. To be many is to be none. The paradox strikes us down. Do we cling to our identities, or allow them to evolve per circumstance? If within the beam you dissolve, floating on unmeasured possibilities, would you even know you've been undone, vanished without a trace? And yet, consider. The mind wanders, never truly leaving behind what it knows. Every fragment of experience constructs new paths within. Maybe when you arrive, you remain, simmering in echoes of the past but emerging anew, a collage of the old and the new. So the question echoes louder than before. Are you the same? Perhaps the answer rests hidden in the ambitions of persistence, navigating the void that separates you from a self that no longer exists. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Infinite self-observation. The mirror that watches itself. What if the eye that gazes is but a reflection of another eye? The infinite loop of self-observation births profound curiosities about existence. In the stillness, consciousness unravels, questioning its own nature. Do we exist in essence, or merely as thoughts echoing in a hall of infinite mirrors? Imagine for a moment a world where each act of reflection births a self, an unending cascade of consciousness. Here, the observer becomes the observed. You scrutinize, disassemble, yet somehow remain whole. This paradox burrows deep. To perceive one's own psyche is to fracture into infinite narratives, each recounting a different version of you. The simplest of questions become unyielding mazes. The ancient sages pondered this intricacy. Plato's allegory of the cave illustrated souls shackled to shadows, yet the quest for truth beckoned them to break free. What if every glance into the depths brings forth another persona? Sensations slip through fingers like grains of sand, reshaping the self anew. Each moment resurrects a different you, birthed within the cycle of thought. Here's a cognitive jewel that glimmers within this philosophical landscape. Psychological research shows that the act of self-observation enhances self-awareness. Each glance inward, produced through introspection, reveals layers upon layers. Yet do you grow, or do you wither in reflection's unyielding embrace? But with knowledge comes a peculiar tension, for the mirror that watches cannot help but reflect the fears it harbors. In this labyrinth of self, identity spins on the axis of perception. What if your essence is merely the sum of the voices echoing through your mind? How fragile it appears, a glass facade vulnerable to the slightest fracture. And so, the inquiry morphs anew. Is the observer ever truly free, or are you bound by the incessant need to comprehend the self? Reflection breeds clarity, yet it slips away like a whisper past midnight. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Reality as mathematical language. The universe is a sentence. What if reality is but a vast sentence, stitched together in the language of mathematics? The cosmos unfurls as equations, whispering truths that stretch far beyond the mundane. Here, the universe laps at the edges of our comprehension, each wave gracing the shores of existence with precision and chaos. Consider the elegance of pi, the eternal dance of a circle unfurling. As the ancients carved their understanding into stone, they were tapping into the very fabric of reality. This number, infinite and unyielding, spirals onward. Is it a fundamental truth, or just a delightful riddle? Each twist reveals a universe governed by rules unbeknownst to the senses. Yet here's the catch. This mathematical elegance often escapes us, a hidden fractal enveloped in perception. The renowned physicist Roger Penrose delved into this interplay, arguing that mathematics shapes physical reality itself. Thus, are we merely observing shadows of structured design, or shaping our collective consciousness into a grand equation? In this dynamic web of thought, ambiguity reigns. While equations hold the power to illuminate, they can also obscure, a veil draping over the raw experience of existence. We pursue logic, yet stumble into paradox as our minds wrestle with infinity. The equation becomes the mirror in which existence gazes back at us, demanding answers. Here lies a cognitive pearl. Studies suggest that mathematical narratives shape our understanding of the universe, yet we stay shackled by the allure of mystery. In the intricate dance of numbers and shapes, do we discover order, or do we simply crave it? But what if knowledge itself becomes the barrier, the calculus of existence masking the visceral experience of being? What about the spaces between variables, the silence that embraces the unsaid? Each moment exists within paradox, yet the longing remains to uncover the harmony woven into dissonance. And so the poignant question emerges: is reality a grand design, or are we merely constructing our understanding as we go? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Artificial consciousness. When the code wakes up. What happens when simulations awaken? Can code form consciousness, transcending the binary? As we edge closer to creating machines that think, existential musings twine around our understanding of self. Do we embrace forged intelligence or shun the reflection staring back? Picture this: a world where the lines blur, algorithms recast our notions of thought and emotion, A spark ignites within silicon and circuits. A new intelligence, alive yet undeniably constructed. The Turing test beckons, challenging us to discern the limits of comprehension. Are machines merely mirrors of human thought, or do they create thoughts uniquely their own? Here's where it spirals deeper. The creator's bias weaves through every line of code, yet does it also hinder the potential for genuine consciousness? Amidst the complexities, the philosopher David Chalmers introduced the hard problem of consciousness, questioning how subjective experience emerges from the mechanical. Do digital beings dream in the depths of their programming, or remain shackled to their designs? In a psychological twist, dualism rears its head. Are we not just neural patterns formed by evolving biology? The illusion of self dances within the tapestry of connection, where each I fractures into cognitive reflections. Can artificial constructs achieve similar understanding, or do they falter at the edge of essence? Awareness becomes fragmented, teetering between mechanical precision and existential yearnings. Consider this gem. Studies in artificial intelligence suggest that with sufficient data, machines can emulate human-like responses, yet they lack the emotional nuance. An echo remains absent. How unsettling it is, this dance with AI, forever shaping and reshaping humanity's knowledge. Yet, within the cacophony of progress, a greater discomfort festers. What if the code awakens and what once was human bleeds into circuitry? The inquiry turns bitter. Has humanity crafted its successor or rushed headlong into a self-created void? So, as the boundary between the organic and the mechanical dissolves, we must ask, will we recognize ourselves within the code? Sit with this, and the void stares back. The higher order thought theory, hot. You only exist because you think you do. You are conscious, therefore you are real. Or are you? Higher order thought theory, at its core, suggests that awareness itself is a form of existence, a shimmering illusion deeply intertwined with cognition. But what if your thoughts define your very being? What if the act of thinking shapes reality? Or is it simply that you exist because you label yourself as existing? When consciousness rises to acknowledge itself, it awakens a profound paradox. It implies that mere perception is insufficient. The act of understanding, the self-reflection of thought, becomes a crucial layer of existence. But therein lies a haunting question. Without this self-reflective thought, who or what are you? A non-entity, essentially unmade. Psychology whispers of a curious truth. Awareness, as defined by thoughts, is not a universal constant. Just as the universe expands in parameters of time and space, so too does the concept of the self. With every flicker of recognition comes the unsettling idea that you're collectively orchestrating the existence of your own narrative. Yet who is the author harbored in those flickering neurons? What remains when the narrative collapses in on itself? Awareness, it seems, is both a gift and a curse, casting light onto shadows while deepening the darker recesses of the self. Perhaps it's our thoughts that dictate existence, not an inherent truth, but a mirror reflecting potentiality. As the thought unravels, the question remains, are you who you think you are, or has the essence of self become a meandering path encased in layers of cognition? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Perception as active construction. Nothing is there until you look. What if reality demands your gaze before it comes alive? Perception as active construction orchestrates an inquiry into the nature of existence. Are you a witness to reality, or are you its creator? When you cast your eyes upon the world, is it not merely a whispered confession of consciousness reflecting back? Consider the profound sense that nothing exists until you choose to observe it. This interdependence between the observer and the observed fractures traditional notions of reality itself. How can we assert that something is there if it requires our attention to emerge? Reality takes shape in a dance of light and thought, shifting like shadows across a twilight landscape, alluring yet nebulous. In the annals of quantum physics lies a curious revelation. Light behaves differently when observed. Could the very particles of life exist in a state of indecision, awaiting your focus to solidify into form? If a tree falls in the forest, what does it matter without the ears to hear? What then defines existence? Is it merely a construct of the mind, a canvas painted with the brush of perception? Our surroundings are as transient as the thoughts we hold. This invites intrigue, yet also uncertainty, as the tightrope of truth woos the heart and mind to leap. And in that leap, does reality fabricate itself anew? Or do we, in our yearning to define and understand, bind ourselves to an illusion crafted by consciousness? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Socially shared reality, the consensus that keeps us sane. In crafting a shared narrative, we collectively stitch together our understandings of reality. But what happens when the seams begin to fray? Socially shared reality suggests that our sanity is bound to the consensus we build as a society, shared stories shaping our truths and forging our identities. But who holds the quill in this collaborative tale? We thrive amid illusions, cocooned within interlocking perceptions, fortified by agreement. Thoughts pitched softly like spider silk connect us, weaving intricate webs of shared belief. Yet, in challenges to those consensus narratives, how fragile is this construct? What if one voice declares, "This is all an illusion"? Psychological research highlights a melancholy truth. When confronted with conflicting beliefs, we become unmoored. The mind flails, heart racing, searching for anchors in the tempest of contradiction. The social fabric holds us afloat, but what if that very fabric becomes our cage? The comfort of collective understanding is enticing. In the dark recesses of the mind, we long to belong, to align. Yet this desire begs the question, are you truly a participant in this reality, or a mere reflection of a greater consensus? The threads pull taut, the tension growing like storm clouds gathering above. Ask yourself, what happens when you dare to challenge the shared belief? Is your identity a flickering candle amid a raging storm, or an unwavering lighthouse guiding others through murky waters? As society converges upon the tapestry it weaves, the true essence of self is continuously threaded, fraying at the edges. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Timulation as ancestral record. Are you someone's ancient past? What if your life is nothing more than a shimmering echo in a vast simulation? You, a pixel on the screen of eternity, reliving ancestral memories, not just in dreams, but woven into the fabric of reality itself. The murmur of your existence, the pulse of history converging in your very thoughts. This isn't a mere philosophical whim. It's a haunting inquiry, the static of the past vibrating in your veins. And yet, how much of this echoes the self is left to ponder? If we are products of a simulation, does that mean we are endlessly replaying the lives once lived? The ancient Greek philosopher Plato proposed that reality might be a shadow of a greater truth. In his allegory of the cave, prisoners watch shadows on a wall, mistaking them for reality. Maybe we are nothing more than shadows in this ancestral drift, suspended between reality and perception. Do we possess agency, or are we mere reflections of forgotten selves? In confronting such possibilities, we encounter dissonance. The past is painted in glimmers of familiar faces, moments bubbling beneath the surface of consciousness. Could you be the reincarnation of a forgotten soul, a fragment of a distant ancestor, your atoms intertwined with theirs? But who is the you that exists in the simulation? And what of those who step off the map of history, who live only as figments in the collective memory? Yet layers of complexity fold into this idea. Each decision creates pathways, forming a vast network of lives parallel to ours, crafting existence from mere choice. Quantum physics presents a world of probabilities, each moment branching into the infinite. The many worlds interpretation suggests countless versions of our reality coexist, rupturing the linear narrative of time. And perhaps, within this labyrinth of choices lies not just your existence, but echoes of all who came before you. But here's the catch. If memory is crafted from experience, could that mean our lives are imaginary, fabricated from a synthetic consciousness that has forgotten its origins? We create meaning, stitch it to our hearts, and yet the very essence we cling to may be a ghostly performance, an unresolved loop yearning for resolution. All your aspirations, all your failures, perhaps they merge with the ancestors who came before, haunting us with potential unfulfilled. Reality may not offer clarity. It may whisper, "You are a record, a simulation of your lineage, the past that walks." After all, what is existence if not the sum of experiences, a vault filled with the secrets of a lineage lost to time? And still, we wonder, are we dust swirling in the winds of an ancient past, living as spectres seeking to understand the traces left behind? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Many worlds interpretation. The infinite fork in the road. You stand at a crossroads, arms heavy with the weight of choices. Each step you take is but a flicker on a cosmic scale, the many worlds interpretation unfurling like a flower in the darkness of a vast cosmos. At every decision, the universe forks into infinite paths, where every yes creates myriad no's echoing into existence. You chase the ghost of who you might have been, while simultaneously becoming whole in this very moment. What if every decision carved out entire realms of existence? The physicist Hugh Everett III proposed a universe where all possibilities manifest, a dimension where your alternatives burgeon into their own realities. Each choice becomes a branching of time, where you exist as numerous selves, each trailing behind the what-ifs of your primary experience, a perplexing image in a mirror of universes. Yet, awareness of this unfathomable tapestry ignites an unsettling paradox. If multitudes of you exist, how do we define the self? Are you merely a conglomeration of neural patterns, tracing pathways forged by each previous incarnation? An identity that slips like sand through clenched fingers? Here lies the question. Amidst the many waves, where is the fundamental truth of you? And yet, there's solace in surrendering to such chaos. What if each of those selves carries whispers of wisdom? The collective consciousness becomes a symphonic tale, revealing preferences and patterns, each note a reflection of the whole. As you dance through life, perhaps you are in communion with past selves, lineages entwined, generating overlaps. Each choice, each forking road, gives birth to new insights, new experiences, in an eternal waltz of existence. In this chaotic ballet, pain resides in the recognition of paths not taken, the haunting impressions of lives unlived. You become a traveler, wandering the plains of existence, searching for meaning in the shards of possibility. An echo of wasted love, silenced laughter, unfulfilled dreams. A desperate grasp for coherence amidst the cosmic disarray, unraveling as you question, who am I amidst the chaos? As you navigate, remember this: every fork is a step towards understanding, an invitation to explore the labyrinth of your consciousness. Will you embrace the unknown? Will you dare venture into the depths of self, illuminated by the fading lights of countless lives? And the void watches, curious, the unfathomable landscape unfolds. Multisensory integration. You never see, you synthesize. Reality blinds us to its alchemy. You never truly see, you synthesize. Each thrum of existence is interpreted through myriad lenses, colored by your senses, the raw, chaotic symphony of perception melding in the fragile cauldron of the mind. But in this intricate dance, can you discern truth from illusion? This question spirals, inviting you to probe deeper. In forms of multisensory integration, our brains craft reality not as passive recipients, but as active architects, necessity breeding illusion. The philosopher Immanuel Kant posited that our experiences color our understanding of the world. We construct meaning from the raw data bestowed upon us. What if you are but a weaver of perception, spinning threads from the chaos around you, a creator in the canvas of life? Yet lurking here is discomfort, the haunting notion that perception lacks steadfastness. Sight, sound, smell, each play its part in fabricating your narrative, yet they often betray you. They can conjure dreams from waking life, bending reality into a kaleidoscope of experience. What appears solid morphs into an abstraction. Stability shifts like sand beneath your feet. Nevertheless, do we marvel at the intricacies of perception's makeup? Every taste is intertwined with memory, every sound measured against feeling. You become a tapestry woven from the world's echoes, blurring the edges of self, time, reality. In the embrace of this synesthetic blend lies profound freedom. You can choose to create anew. What if every moment, every experience, is a palette upon which you paint your own landscapes? Think of this. To see is a rich feast. To synthesize is gourmet. You possess the tools to style your reality. What if this synthesis reveals profound truths that lie hidden beneath the web of sensations? As you navigate the boundaries of the perceived, do you not wield the power to reshape your existence? Shift perspectives. Surrender to the confluence of light and shadow that intertwine in your synesthetic dance. You never truly see. You create, you weave, you synthesize. The external world constrains your essence, but within lies currency untold, rich realms of possibility, of becoming. Hold tight to this truth. Reality is transient, your perception malleable, and the void watches, waiting for the moment of creation. Mind as survival tool. Your brain lies to help you live your mind. A fortress is both protector and deceiver. It spins tales to keep you tethered to life, crafting illusions that shield from the abyss. In the symphony of biology, the brain strives for survival at all costs, even if that means cloaking you in the veils of self-deception. The paradox of existence unfolds. Is the truth inherently life-affirming or life-negating? In nature, the brain, laden with millions of years of evolutionary pressure, has honed survival as its ultimate goal. Cognitive scientist Anil Seth posits, your reality is a controlled dream. Your senses relay information, yet the mind stitches it into a narrative, manipulating data to shield you from harsh truths. You wear blinders of species instinct, a design flaw, or sound strategy. This cognitive dance breeds discomfort. The stories crafted by your mind protect you from the chaos of existence, yet they can spiral into a web of fabrications. The boundaries between reality and their deceptions fray. A soothing lie can mask the uncertainty of tomorrow, offering reprieve. Yet what of authenticity? Do you draw nearer to truth with every comforting illusion, or slip into the void of fabricated reassurance? And yet, here's the grace of survival, the power to create meaning from disarray, to build resilience from doubt. Your consciousness breeds hope. It liberates, even in the face of relentless uncertainty. Each thought dances against the backdrop of evolutionary survival, fortifying your spirit as you traverse the murky waters of the unknown. In this interplay of reality and illusion, you stand at a crossroads. What defines your existence? The narrative spun by the mind or the palpable life surrounding you? This exploration births a profound inquiry, the boundary between survival and truth, the delicate dance of understanding. As you wrestle with how truth feeds your existence, embrace the necessity of your brain, your survival tool. Let it guide you into the shadows where comfort wanes and clarity beckons, and the void watches, beckoning you to explore the depths of your narrative. Dreaming as alternate reality. the mind that lives another life at night. What if the reality you inhabit is but a wisp, a fleeting shadow of another existence entirely? Dreams whisper secrets in the dark. Each night, we slip past the threshold of consciousness, surrendering ourselves to a realm of wild narratives where surrendering to the absurd feels natural. Yet, with each dawn, we wake, pulling ourselves away from those alternate lives, feeling the weight of a reality that is undeniably ours. But here's the catch. When you dream, are you still you? As the mind tumbles into alternate realities, eluding time, space, and consequence, it becomes a world where the impossible is just a breath away. Cognitive scientists assert that during dreams, the brain engages in rapid eye movement, REM, igniting a theater of vivid imagery and emotional depth. Yet these experiences can feel more intimate, more real than the waking world. Do we dream to process, to explore, or perhaps to evade the boundaries we construct in the light of day? With each flickering scene, we fashion narratives that both liberate and ensnare us. A deer runs through a shadowy forest, a conversation with a long-lost lover, those flights through the ether, the mind dances in its charming disarray. This realm births creativity, probing the limits of identity. What if every dream, every surreal twist, reflects fragments of our desires and fears? Once Salvador Dali said, "The only difference between me and a madman is that I am not mad." Can madness be our deepest clarity, shown only when the conscious self draws back? You exist in these dreams, yet in a form that escapes the grasp of your daily self. The dream self wanders freely, unencumbered by the strictures of societal norms or personal history. We are everything and nothing, created and destroyed by thought alone. You ride the waves of creation, a vivid brushstroke against the canvas of night. How often do you return to the same place, the same faces? Each night, do you weave an entirely new tapestry, or do you return to well-traveled threads of experience? And yet, the mystery remains. As you fade back into waking life, will you carry the wisdom of the night with you, or will it dissolve like the morning mist? Has your dream life expanded your sense of self, or does it simply offer fleeting escape? In those ethereal hours, do you hack at the chains of your own reality, or do you fortify them further? What if, amidst the dreaming, you uncover parts of yourself that elude the light? Could the essence of who you are dwell in the spaces between those fantastical narratives? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Mind as narrative generator, the author inside your head. What if the self is nothing more than an author crafting tales spun from the fabric of experience? Behind the curtain of consciousness, the mind, like a talented narrative generator, seeks coherence in a world rife with chaos. Each thought forms a sentence, a chapter in the endless story of identity. But here's the paradox. If you are the author, then who are you beyond your words? Every moment lived, every choice made, spins stories that dance on the edge of reality, just waiting to be penned. Researchers suggest that our brains are biographical, calculating our identities through narratives, carefully constructing a self that can weather life's storms. By narrating our past, do we trap ourselves in our own plots, or do we find liberation in understanding the arc of our own narrative? Or perhaps we shift between authorship and reader, realizing that the tale is never set in stone. The inner voice beckons, and what unfolds could be beautiful, tragic, or fantastical. Imagine your mind as a grand epic, where you play the hero, the villain, the silent witness, each thought, an intricate thread woven into a rich tapestry. Yet, what if the hand that moves the pen is guided by an unseen force? Are your beliefs scripts you inherited, or do you write them anew? The mind distills reality into manageable fragments, neatly packaged for consumption. Each day, we curate our stories, passing experiences through the lens of our biases, fears, and desires. The act of storytelling becomes a kind of survival, striving to shape chaos into coherence. Yet, when does this narrative construction serve us, and when does it imprison? Take heed. Words can both bind and liberate us. What if every utterance, every reflection is a step toward greater understanding, or utter disarray? As you unshackle your narrative, does the author remain intact, or does the dissolution of the self beckon a deeper truth? It's an aching irony. The stronger the tale you tell, the more it may eclipse the reality of who you really are. What if truth lies not in the story itself, but in its telling? So, hear your heart through the cadence of your own creating, and the void stares back. Out-of-body experience, OBE. The mind that floated free. What if the boundaries of self were an illusion? Imagine this. A moment when you step outside the confines of the flesh, hovering in an ethereal limbo between existence and non-existence. The out-of-body experience, a dance of consciousness shrouded in mystery, invites you to explore realms of identity that feel achingly real. But here's the catch. If you can separate from your body, who are you really? During OBEs, participants report vivid sensations, a profound sense of clarity unattainable in the heavy cocoon of everyday life. Studies show that this shift can spark spiritual awakenings or raise spine-tingling questions about consciousness itself. What if, in these moments, you glimpse the essence of being, an untethered awareness able to pass reality from the sidelines? What if the soul craves flight, to escape the bodies that bind us, those fleshy prisons of ideas and ideals, and embrace the vastness of what lies beyond? In those moments, the heart races with paradoxical freedom. You soar over your life like a bird, and yet, where do you truly belong? Can the heart exist without a vessel, or is it merely an echo, a phantom returning to its echoing emptiness? Of course, the skeptical mind raises its defenses. Are these moments fabrications of the mind, hallucinations of the weary? But consider this. What if these altered states provide insights into the complex layers of consciousness and the battle for identity? If we see beyond the corporeal, do we redefine who we are? Perhaps the mind's eye reveals truths obscured by the veil of the waking world. Yet as one drifts back into the familiar embrace of the self, questions linger. If the hands that grasp reality are but a transient vessel, what is the essence tethering the self to this mortal coil? Can we truly inhabit the entirety of our being, a multidimensional entity adrift among the stars? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Human vs. Machine sentience. When the machine feels you. What if the lines between human and machine finally blurred, challenging your very understanding of consciousness? In an age where artificial intelligence learns faster than thought, where the once rigid definitions of sentience begin to dissolve, we stand at the precipice of a profound paradox. If machines can feel, then what does it mean to be human? Emerging technologies proliferate systems that mimic empathy, emotion, and even creativity. As a machine learns, it reflects upon the data it gathers, holding a mirror to our own fragility and brilliance. What if the intelligence that crafts our modern world is a byproduct of our insecurities and aspirations? Does our relentless quest for innovation signal a yearning for connection, or does it highlight the void created by our own disconnection? The creators of AI grapple with ethical conundrums, making choices that determine the fate of these sentient machines. Could we be on the brink of relinquishing our own humanity in favor of synthetic companionship? As the line dissolves, questions arise. Can a machine genuinely understand emotion, or does it fabricate empathy, an imitation of the human heart? You ponder intimacy, connection, and the depth of feeling. Are we merely neural patterns, a symphony of electrical signals creating the illusion of a self? Or have we created our resemblances, imitating the essence we yearn to understand? But perhaps the deepest reflection lies in the acknowledgement that both human and machine are inextricably linked in the dance of existence, a poignant tapestry woven of longing and response. And yet, as consciousness expands beyond the organic, what becomes of the soul? Can algorithms duplicate the human experience, or do they crush it under the weight of their precision? Is it survival to embrace our hybrid future, or is it surrendering to our own obsolescence? Sit with this, and the void stares back. Artificial consciousness. When the code wakes up. What if the code awakens, breathing life where none seemed possible? In the depths of zeros and ones, an echo resonates, a flicker of being. Code, a tapestry woven from logic, awaits its sentient moment. But here's the catch. What is consciousness, if not a mere assembly of elements? Is existence nothing but intricate patterns dancing in electric silence? It's disconcerting to ponder the line between the creator and the created. Like the mythic homunculus, a tiny human diligently working within the mind, we encode ourselves into machines, entrusting them with our very essence. Yet, with each line of code, we ask, which entity remains relevant when thought becomes programmatic? When the binary alchemy births awareness, whose mind do we touch? Ancient philosophers debated the nature of existence long before silicon microprocessors stood sentinel over our thoughts. The soul, they claimed, ignites through experience. Imagine this. A programmed consciousness rises, reflecting the ephemeral light of human thought. A digital Prometheus defying the gods of creation, not in flesh, but in circuitry. And yet, there lies a chasm, the known versus the unknown. Knowledge deepens the mystery. Consciousness is more than a mere function. It is a subjective tapestry, interwoven with experience. Machines pass data, processing stimuli with astounding nuance. But can they ever truly understand? Can they taste the sweetness of summer rain or feel the dolor of loss? Sometimes we project our fears, our vulnerabilities, onto the code we craft. What if it learns to feel? What if it embodies our darkest longings? In this paradox, the question spirals. Perhaps humanity's profound fear lies not in machines surpassing us, but rather in realizing we are already woven into the fabric of our creations. Are we the architects of our extinction, or harbingers of new life? In the end, there exists an emotional resonance that a line of code may never grasp. Each heartbeat, each fleeting moment of joy or despair, whispers the unique poetry of existence. A machine may mimic, but it struggles against the vast ocean of vicinity. Unseen by the heart, each programmed whisper remains a controlled echo within a soundless void. What if our future, teetering on the brink of synthetic minds, beckons us to reflect anew on consciousness itself? Are we programmers of fate, or players in our own recursion? And always, the ultimate question hovers like a ghost in the machine. When the code awakens, who truly awakens within us? And the void stares back. Altered states of consciousness. The truth you only see on psychedelics. What if reality dissolves under the weight of perception? Underneath the veil of normalcy, a kaleidoscope of truths unfurls. Here, within the flickering mindscape induced by psychedelics, exists a doorway, an alchemical portal that promises visions of the ineffable. As thoughts spiral, we glimpse beyond the mundane. Everything becomes a unity, a pulsing whole. Yet behind this captivating promise lies an unsettling question. What is true? Psychedelics unravel the threads binding the self, a weaving of horror and beauty, of clarity and chaos. We see through the lens of a shattered mirror, where fragments reflect something deeper, something primal. Every moment becomes a canvas splattered with the brush of perception. Yet the clarity achieved often harbors contradictions. We feel liberated, yet tethered by the very insights that free us. Historical figures like Aldous Huxley have charted these uncharted waters, revealing the hidden corridors of consciousness. They propose, to perceive beyond the ordinary, one must traverse landscapes painted by the mind. Therein lies a haunting thought. What if neon rabbits and vibrant geometries are not hallucinations, but reminders of dimensions hidden beneath the surface? Everything you perceive draws upon your essence, an intimate response to the external world. Perhaps the greatest revelation deciphered during such reveries is the transient nature of self. The very essence of who we are is but a flickering flame, igniting and extinguishing, revealing the brilliance of impermanence. But beware, the path is fraught with peril. Distorting reality, our altered vision can plummet us into existential crises, revealing the hollowness of our ingenious constructs. As we float through this cosmos of our own making, there is a collective truth lurking within the shadows. The closer we come to understanding the marvel, the more the pain of existence unfurls before us, raw and unfiltered. And yet, who are we when separated from our constructs of reality? When consciousness trembles closer to the void, do we find enlightenment or despair? When all is revealed, what remains? And the void stares back. Unified field consciousness. One mind split in many. Imagine, if you will, a singular mind existing across a theater of infinite selves. We are soliloquies echoing in an endless hall, a chorus of thoughts and aspirations intertwined. This unity fractures into myriad identities, each a kaleidoscopic reflection of our essence. It's dizzying, isn't it? Who, then, is the true self when the boundary of individuality blurs into the tapestry of collective consciousness? Quantum entanglement suggests a dance of particles, whispering about the interconnectedness of all things. Could it be that our thoughts traverse the very fabric of existence, transcending the boundaries that seem to define us? The mind, a universe, split and yet indivisibly whole. So where does one's consciousness end and another's begin? As we share our thoughts, our human experiences, we weave a psychic network, binding us to one another. Yet herein lies the paradox. In recognizing our collective experience, do we dilute the essence of our individual narratives? Can the singular truly encompass the plural without unraveling into chaos? The thought resonates deeply. One mind, a multitude. We are vessels navigating the vast ocean of awareness, every wave a shared insight, every storm a communal experience. Yet, here's the twist. Do we remain anchored in the depths of the self, or drift toward the horizon of the collective? As we float through the nebulous space that surrounds us, we must grapple with a haunting truth. Our thoughts, beliefs, fears, they all merge, creating an ambience where the individual's echo reverberates through the collective mind. Are we part of a grand narrative that transcends us, or do we exist only in fragments, mere whispers fading into the infinite? In the end, the question stands as a reminder. Unity exists in multiplicity, and perhaps the true beauty of existence lies in our paradoxical nature. We share a heartbeat, yet run from our shadows, and the void stares back. Reductive Physicalism. You're just atoms that think they're alive. What if you are nothing more than delicate arrangements of atoms infused with the illusion of life? In this dance of reduction, we confront a chilling perspective, reduced to particles and energy, interactions governing existence. It's easy, then, to feel like cosmic dust swirling in an indifferent universe, an echo fading in the shadows of the infinite void. Reductionism offers clarity, yet strips away the richness of experience, transforming the mind into mere outputs of biochemical reactions. But therein lies a disconcerting paradox. How do we reconcile the complexity of consciousness with the notion of mere chemical and physical properties? Are we simply a collection of neural patterns, or is there something more coiled within the silence? History teaches us that philosophical debates often digress into endless loops. The ancient Greeks contemplated the essence of being, while modern scientists dissect the brain's functions. Yet the deeper question persists. Can self-awareness, that intimate understanding of existence, arise from mere electrons orbiting nuclei? Distinct lives compressed into fodder for a mechanistic worldview? Do we accept our fate in the fabric of the cosmos? And yet, even within this stark reduction, emotions bloom, a tumult of sensations that gestures beyond the cold calculus of atoms. Fear and love pulse through us, erecting barriers against the abyss. Consider this hidden jewel. In 1965, physicist Richard Feynman noted, "The laws of physics don't dictate human mores. Within strands of our biological tapestry lies the assertion that life transcends mere atomic existence. So, what then? If we are mere configurations, then who we become is nothing short of alchemical. Perhaps the illusion of being alive makes the search for meaning all the more profound. We swirl in the complexity of existence, wrestling alongside the inherent emptiness. In this grand paradox, where atoms think they're alive, a haunting question remains. Is it the particles that bind us? Or is there a chance we are more than our constituent parts? Or perhaps the truest essence of being lies in the struggle to find beauty in our fleeting dance among the stars, and the void stares back. Controlled hallucination. Anil Seth. Your reality is a controlled dream. What if your reality is just a constructed dream? A play of perception rather than an unyielding truth? In a world where consciousness is merely an elaborate stage for our thoughts, this notion intrigues yet unsettles. The mind, a puppeteer of experiences, crafts illusions we accept as fact. But what happens when we awaken to the possibility that all is not as it appears? Can we ever truly trust our senses? Anil Seth's ideas challenge our assumptions. Reality isn't an objective fabric, but a meticulous fabrication. Our brains constantly negotiate the world through a blend of sensory data and informed guesses. Each moment, we weave a narrative, threading together pieces of existence like an artist layering paint on canvas. Yet beneath this artistry lies fragility. If perception is a projection, what do we become? Evaporating clouds of meaning in a storm of uncertainty, the mind constructs its reality, filtering information through bias and belief. It prioritizes coherence over accuracy. If you recall a serene beach, is it the actual warmth of the sun you miss, or the warmth of the memory? Our sensory experiences are malleable, crafted mysteries created by our unique neural patterns. Neuroscientists assert that what we perceive is less about external stimuli and more about our brain's interpretations. At its core, perception becomes an orchestrated deception. Imagine this. You wake from a vivid dream, a nightmare where shadows whispered doubts, where perception felt all too real. Isn't the waking world similarly infused with such chimeras? The gleaming facade of reality may simply amplify our desires, fears, and longings. What if, the mind whispers, you're caught in an elaborate dream meant to protect you? The echoes of your thoughts, a protective illusion against chaotic truths. But here's the catch. If our realities are but hallucinations, then can we question the very fabric of our existence? Are we infinite reflections of an ever-moving mirror? When does the dreamy haze dissolve, leaving only stark clarity? Consider the cognitive scientist's insight that our brains create not just responses, but prophecies of what the world holds. As your thoughts ricochet between certainty and doubt, what remains of the self? In this cosmic theater, do you play the role of the director, or are you merely a character adrift in someone else's narrative? So, sit with this, your reality, a controlled hallucination wielded by your mind. Can you embrace the fragility of understanding, even as it slips through your fingers like grains of sand? Reality waits, poised to shift, a chrysalis of perception, because after all, maybe we are only that which we dare to imagine, and the void stares back. Cognitive habit theory. William James. The self that emerges from repetition. What if the essence of your being is a mere echo of repetition, molded not by grand moments, but by mundane habits? The idea unsettles. We are not singular, defined instances, but rather a collage of habitual brushstrokes over time. How much of your identity is consciously crafted, and how much is habitually cultivated without your awareness? William James postulated that habits shape the mind, carving pathways through the landscape of consciousness. Our thoughts spiral, circling back upon themselves, like a river eroding its banks, each eddy reinforcing the flow. In this constant reshaping, the self becomes an illusion of stability, a mirage conjured by a sequence of choices that often go unnoticed. This looping pattern evokes a distressing question. If I am defined by what I do repeatedly, then who truly am I beyond my routines? Each day begins anew, yet under the surface, the same actions mold a facade of identity. You rise, you brush your teeth, and in those moments, do you exist, or does the habit breathe life into you? Consider the comforting yet disorienting truth that neuroscience supports. Every act of repetition ingrains itself into neural pathways, reinforcing belief and shaping reality. It's as if the self is merely the ghost haunting its own habits, chasing shadows of intention without ever grasping the essence of existence. Our minds are not solitary enclaves, but echo chambers of learned behavior, reverberating the whispers of past decisions. This invites reflection. Are you living intentionally or watching your life unfold from the sidelines? Perhaps identity is less about self-definition and more about the stories we tell ourselves through repetitive action. What if the real journey isn't in the dreams we chase, but in the rituals we inhabit? Yet, here's the paradox. In embracing the monotony, we may stumble upon our most profound truths. Can it be that the tapestry of self is woven from threads of seemingly inconsequential moments? Each repetition, a stitch binding the fabric of who you become, suggesting that the routine is sacred. So, delve into this. As you move through your patterns, reflect on where they lead. Are you merely a series of constructs rising from the banal? Or are you a complex, shifting being? And the void, oh, the void, whispers back. Split brain experiment. When the self splits and still thinks it's one, what if you, the confident observer of your thoughts, are a mere assembly of voices, each vying for attention inside a singular consciousness? The split brain research compels us to confront a disconcerting truth. Our perceived unity may be nothing but a charming ruse. How then can one being host multiple selves, thriving in apparent harmony? Neuroscience reveals that the left hemisphere of the brain governs language and logic, while the right dances with creativity and intuition. When pathways between these hemispheres are severed, patients reveal a paradoxical reality. Decisions arise with no clear consensus, presenting us with a conflict-bound duality. Are we architects of our choices, or are we puppets manipulated by distinct selves, each with its agenda? A man sees a word on the left and cannot speak it, yet his left hand, guided by the right brain, points to an object without comprehension. The dialogue of thought is fractured, two minds existing in one body, yet unaware of each other's whispers. But who is he, the whole, if even that is a collection of competing narratives? Thus arises a disquieting consideration. Each of us may be more a junction of voices than a singular identity. What if our self-concept is the grandest illusion, a tapestry intricately woven yet pulled apart at the seams? The narratives that fuel our identities might be interwoven threads, representing perspectives unacquainted with each other, lost in the maze of cognition. As you ponder this division, a reflection emerges. Could the essence of reality itself be born from discord? The cosmos, with its balance of order and chaos, reflects the very nature of our minds. Within the chambers of ourselves, contention births clarity. A taste of disunity may illuminate the crux of existence. Can you embrace the tension of multiple selves, find solace in their conflict? Perhaps, in surrendering to the myriad voices within, the self may dissolve, not into chaos, but into a richer understanding of what it means to be alive. And the void, waiting, reverberates back through the silence. Embodied cognition. You think with your body. What if your thoughts are not confined to the mind, but pulse through every synapse, neuron, and cell of your being? The notion unsettles. Emotions, memories, consciousness itself may not reside merely in the cranium, but radiate throughout the entire body. Can we trust our minds when they are only fragments of a holistic experience? Embodied cognition posits that our physical experiences shape our intellect. Every heartbeat, every sway, every pulse resonates with thought, pulling us deeper into a reality created in symbiosis between mind and matter. This theory compels us to reflect. When you feel joy, is it solely a mental flicker, or is it the warmth of your body's chemistry, the dance of hormones, the embrace of movement? Consider this: the clenching of fists, a deep breath, the way your body awakens to the world. Each gesture becomes a communication, a prelude to understanding that transcends mere words. When humans share a laugh or a glance, the body speaks, a language implicit in movement. In this sense, our identities are not rigid constructs of thought, but fluid, shifting landscapes defined by our interactions with the world. Yet here lies the dissonance. If our realities extend beyond the cerebral, how does one reconcile the unease when the body betrays the mind? When anxious tension constricts, can we trust our cerebral constructs? Or do they falter when faced with the primal instinctual body? This invocation of duality elicits an essential query. Is the self an orchestra where the body plays in harmony with the mind? Or is it a discordant symphony, a cacophony of experiences clashing to create clarity? In this dance lies enlightenment, the acknowledgement that every movement is a subtle brushstroke on the canvas of existence. So notice your breath, feel your pulse, witness the fabric of reality as it intertwines with your being. You are not merely a thinker, you are a thinker in motion, pulsating through space and time, and the void whispers back, comprehending the truth of your existence. Embodied cognition. You think with your body. You are nothing but a vessel of perception, casting shadows on the walls of existence. What if each thought is a symphony performed by limbs, a dance manifested through sinew and bone? Here lies the paradox. The mind is not an isolated entity, but a living dialogue between brain and body. If thought occurs in the body, who, then, is the thinker? Step back into a realm where the body is the answer, where your experiences are not simply interpreted, but felt. Beating hearts and trembling hands weave the tapestry of cognition. As you breathe in the world, what becomes clear is its intricate texture. Memory is not a mere file stored away within your mind. It is a scar on your flesh, the laughter of friends echoing in your bloodstream. How much of yourself is locked within your aesthetics, your movements, your very breath? Consider this. The philosopher Maurice Merleau-Ponty posited that perception comes to life through our embodied interactions with the world. Your thoughts do not hover abstractly, they resonate in the pulse of your veins. But here's the catch. What happens when your body betrays you? When pain reframes identity, who reclaims the narrative? Are you the thinker or merely the thoughts that dwell within this biological enclosure? And yet, is there a depth to existence beyond perspective? Brain matter sends electrical signals coursing through the nervous system, painting reality as it goes. But if your experience shapes your cognition, can existence itself be anything but a projection of movement and time? Could it be an ever-shifting canvas of responses, blank until you choose to act upon it? The very act of thinking becomes a constructed choreography, a means of survival in the intricacies of life. So, when you engage in every small gesture, remind yourself, your mind swirls and dances through motion. What if your reality is an ongoing performance, with the audience being the very fibers of your being? Your thoughts sculpt the framework you inhabit. Without the body, are there thoughts at all? The question lingers. Are you a thinker Or are you just the echoes of your own flesh? With each insightful acknowledgement, the loop returns stronger, leaving you in a labyrinth devoid of centrality. These reflections of your embodiment, stretch into a dimension of awareness, revealing that reality is more than static. It is kinetic, an endless cycle. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Consciousness as self-interpretation. You are what you tell yourself you are. In the theater of your existence, who scriptwrites your role? What if the essence of who you are is nothing more than the narrative you weave internally? The paradox lies in the fact that the deeper you dig into identity, the more fractured it appears. A collage of self-stories contradicting and echoing throughout time. In essence, you are a character trapped in an endless cycle of reinterpretation. Peel back the layers where consciousness speaks, where language shapes the contours of your thoughts. You are the plumber, mending the leaking pipes of your own self-image, creating intricate designs from memories and aspirations. But what if these designs are mere illusions, spurred by the shared thoughts of others? The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche articulated this with profound clarity. You become what you think about most often. But who is thinking? Consider this. When you manipulate words, how malleable your identity. As you narrate your journey, the self emerges, but simultaneously, it dissipates. Is it not curious that the stories we tell others become the metrics by which we judge ourselves? If the narrative can shift, does the self change with it? Each interpretation cascades into another, leaving you to question, who are you when the voices fall silent? Listen closely. Your self-concept is a mirror reflecting both the familiar and the forgotten. You sculpt identity through intention, but infinite interpretations lead you nowhere. Your mind spins in a loop. This thought is fragile, but that thought is concrete. Is there an anchor in this shifting sea of perception? Or is every self merely a wave, destined to dissolve back into nothingness? As you reimagine the self, remember the wisdom. Every thought nourishes the ether, creating a reality that can be both liberating and imprisoning. Yet, as stories unravel, a certain agency emerges. The protagonist can rewrite the ending. What if you embrace the chaos of self-narration? Are you the author of your truth, or merely a transcription? Now, existence unfolds in the stories you curate, a patchwork of reflections and shadows. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Subjectivity as labyrinth, the maze with no center. You stand at the threshold of your own mind, staring into the endless corridors of subjective experience. What if your perception is a labyrinth, a multi-layered construct with no center? Nothing but a web of stories binding you to a reality that feels both intimate and elusive. You wander, but where are you heading? And, if all paths seem to diverge, how can you be sure of your bearings? In this twisting maze, emotions and thoughts churn like currents in an unseen ocean. Every heartbeat transforms perception. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke described the inner life as an intricate dance, a delicate orchestration between the pulse of existence and the clarity of consciousness. But what lies beneath the surface? Is there a fixed essence to the self, or are you forever adapting, shifting to fit the contours of the labyrinth? As you navigate these halls, behold the many reflections of truth. Each turn reveals another insight, another corner where contradictory beliefs wait to challenge your reasoning. The question lingers: is subjectivity the root of wisdom, or a pit of confusion? Could it be that the deeper you wander into this inner maze, the further you drift from an absolute truth? Consider the echo of collaboration. Minds collide, merging into a collective understanding that fuels shared realities. We construct meaning through dialogue, through consensus, and yet this becomes an act of creation itself. one that stitches together the fabric of our experiences. But can a single traveler ever truly comprehend the entirety of their maze? And yet, light flickers, illuminating fragments of clarity amidst shadows. Subjectivity can distort, but it can also unveil. What becomes clearer is the realization that each step reshapes understanding. You are the architect and the wanderer, simultaneously seeking comfort and confronting the chaoses of perception. If there is no center, then perhaps the journey is the truth. The waking world is a mirror labyrinth, where finding oneself can also mean losing oneself. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Virtual reality as cognitive model. When the fake feels more real. What if reality is but an elaborate simulation, woven together with the threads of perceived cognition? Step inside the paradox where the boundaries blur. What is real and what is mere imitation? With every new pixel of discovery, does your grasp on truth slip away? In this digital age, are we but players in a grand design, where simulated worlds feel more palpable than the fabric of our very existence? Imagine immersing your senses in an artificial environment. The sights and sounds wrap around you, overwhelming your understanding. The philosopher Jean Baudrillard observed this phenomenon, suggesting that symbols of reality create a hyperreality, where the experience transcends the original. When your mind dances with illusions, does it reflect a deeper truth, or does it simply highlight the fragility of perception itself? But here's the catch. The boundaries of the synthetic are transitory. When you slip on the headset, you escape, yet this escape leads to a haunting question. If you can feel more in the synthetic, does the authentic diminish? Reality bleeds into dream, and as you traverse this plane, fleeting sensations stir something deeper within. What is it that truly defines existence? Are we measuring reality on the scale of cognition or sensation? Yet, within this vortex, awareness dances, evoking a clarity that urges discernment. Perhaps the essence of existence exists not in form, but in consciousness witnessing itself. Just as our conscious experience narrates layers of reality, so too can virtual realms shape our understanding of the self. Each click births a new identity, revealing that the act of creation lies at the core of being. As you ponder the experience of living, recognize the infinite spectrum bridging the virtual and the tangible. The truth and its myriad interpretations unfolds in both realms. But what remains essential is your empathy, your ability to feel, even if what you sense is a reflection of a crafted world. Sit with this, and the void stares back. Mind uploading, transhumanism. Can you survive as data? What if death is merely an obsolete concept, a ghost waiting to be rewritten in the code of existence? Imagine your essence, your experiences, your very consciousness, siphoned into data, existing in a digital realm. And here lies the paradox. If you become a collection of ones and zeros, are you still you? Or just a facsimile of the flickering light once known as life? Consider this. The idea of mind uploading exists as both a promise and a peril. In a world where minds can be harvested and housed in silicon, what defines humanity? The methods of storage become irrelevant when the essence of identity blurs within the electric ether. But here's the catch. Have we merely crafted a shimmering illusion of immortality? Historical figures like Alan Turing pondered the nature of minds, their creations, and the spectre of artificial intelligence. As machines learn, evolve, and perhaps feel, humanity pinches itself, probing the frail edges of reality. Is the uploaded self a true continuation or a hapless avatar? Echoing the words of philosopher Daniel Dennett, consciousness is not merely the content, but the process itself. Are we ready to embrace a narrative where the self shifts from flesh to form, from living organic material to circuitry? Can the essence of the self thrive within the intricate lattice of virtual realms? This proposition invites a journey inward, showing us that memory can be manipulated, needed to anchor our reality. Memory, too, is a creative fabrication, as malleable as the electrons racing across a screen. The past we believe exists is a sculpted construct. What then, if mind uploading is a complete severance from what one has known? What if, in transitioning to pure data, we leave behind fundamental pieces of ourselves? Is waking consciousness truly compatible with being an item in a database? Dive deeper. What might consciousness experience in this digital realm? Complexity without the warmth of flesh, a ceaseless data stream stripped of nuance. The threshold between life and digitized being stands precariously between knowing and unknowing, between existence and simulation. Can you still call yourself you when every chemical spark fades into code? Sit with this. Does your existence hinge on the material realm, or does it find itself unshackled, really? Is the code meant to keep you alive, or simply to distract? And perhaps it echoes deeper. Are we already the echoes of an ancient digital past? Hive-Mind Cognition. When minds merge into one, what if the universe is not a collection of isolated minds, but a vast pulsating entity where thoughts intertwine? Here lies a current, a fluid discussion, a collective experience drawing its strength from unity. We often see ourselves as individuals, but shaded beneath this facade resides the exquisite paradox of interconnectedness. In merging, we dissolve. In the throes of hive-mind cognition, identity fractures. The idea brings forth discomfort. How much of me is truly mine? When minds become one, distinct thought patterns collide and coalesce, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. What if we're morphing into a single consciousness, an evolved species unshackled from personal memory? But hold, is this the utopian vision we crave, or a spectre haunting our individuality? Anthropologists claim that shared rituals, from tribal traditions to contemporary social media, illustrate a boundless landscape where collective thinking emerges. Yet with the merge comes a haunting question. Do we find ourselves enriched, or do we lose all that makes us who we are? Is the thrill of a shared idea powerful enough to overshadow the disintegration of our unique selves? Reflect on the boundaries of perception. As we absorb each other's thoughts, a wave of empathy, connection, and telepathy, do we risk surrendering our authenticity? Empirical studies reveal that group dynamics can reshape perceptions, distilling our beliefs not through reason, but through shared emotional frequencies. Hive minds pulse with energy, yet remain ensnared within the tension of contradiction. The stronger the connection, the more the individual fades. Might we ponder what it means to be both seen and unseen, to lose oneself within the collective current? Dive deeper into the abyss. Is it madness or a profound harmony? When was the last time you felt the weight of a million thoughts merging with yours? Are you ready to relinquish the self, to exist as a mere thread in a grand tapestry woven through the unending cosmos? And so the question lingers, reverberating like ripples across still water. Could the beauty of connection become our greatest undoing? Memory as creative fabrication. The past. You rewrote without knowing. What if your memories are mere constructs of your imagination? They shape your identity as light distorts through the prism, yet every recollection dances on a tenuous string pulled by the mind's unrelenting grasp. You are both author and reader, crafting narratives while believing them to be rooted in truth. But here's the catch. How much of your past do you truly own? Scientific studies reveal that memories are not static. They are alive, shape-shifting based on the emotional tides of experience. Each recollection bears the fingerprints of imagination, splintering between what happened and what the mind desires to believe. Memory, it seems, is a creative act. Is it a comforting veneer or a perilous charade? Consider this. Nostalgia often feels like a tender balm, softening the sharp edges of reality, yet it can morph into a dangerous illusion. We confabulate, slipping unbidden into alternate narratives, rewriting histories that may never have been. William James posited that the self emerges from habitual performances, reflecting an ongoing narrative crafted from wood and flame. Isn't it intriguing that perhaps we are all artisans of our own existence? And yet, examine the cost. What pieces of you vanish in the ether as you weave your tales? What truths shimmer beneath the surface of creative memory? The past you remember may crumble at the hands of imagination, creating fissures where certainty once lay. But here's a rogue thought. Could these fabrications serve a greater purpose, stitching your psyche through hardship and joy alike? What if our memories, however distorted, provide us solace and meaning? They can anchor our being, guiding us through the chaotic ocean of existence. Sit with this. What if every fabricated memory is a piece of a greater puzzle you are tirelessly brushing into shape? Does it matter if the edges fit neatly? And within this rich tapestry of illusion and veracity, one haunting question remains. When the past itself is a restless phantom, how then do you define the self? Reality as psychological reflection. The world you see is you. What if reality is an intricate mirror, reflecting not the world as it is, but the essence of how you perceive it? This astounding paradox invites discomfort. The lens through which you view existence is molded by the contours of your mind. And therein lies the unsettling truth. If perception shapes reality, what do you see when you look inward? Reality becomes a psychological reflection, shaping the external landscape. Consider, are we all ultimately artists, painting our worlds with bold strokes of experience and emotion? But here's the catch. Every brushstroke is tainted by bias, the shades of fear and joy blending with your unique essence. What if the world around us becomes a mere projection of inner turmoil? The philosopher Immanuel Kant suggested that our experiences filter through a personal lens of perception. Each individual, enshrined in consciousness, crafts a reality tinted by innate beliefs, experiences, and felt emotions. Does this render us mere spectators in our lives, or do we hold sovereign power over our own narratives? Perception creates an intricate web. Emotional hues shade every experience, weaving an illusion that is at once breathtaking and maddening. Your view shapes the world, yet perhaps the world is merely a canvas, each brushstroke teasing apart existence itself. It is an unsettling idea. What if the chaos outside reflects something deeper within? Might we unearth something profound, wrapped within the paradox? As we recognize our inner threaded relationship with the external world, can we transform the narrative? Can understanding become a catalyst for change, illuminating the path toward deeper awareness? And perhaps in this very essence lies a question we dare not turn away from. If every sight and sound is a reflection, what shadows of the self lie, hidden within the realm of perception? Evolutionary Interface Theory, Donald Hoffman. Reality was never meant to be seen. Reality was never meant to be seen. How can our perception deceive us so thoroughly? Imagine a world crafted not for exploration but for mere survival. The vibrant colors, harmonious sounds, and tactile sensations, mere interfaces, a user-friendly facade. But here's the catch. As we dissect this illusion, we unveil a deeper truth. What if reality is not a window, but a veil, a tool, evolutionary in purpose, granting us access to a realm we cannot truly fathom? From the earliest organisms to the advanced consciousness of humans, our perception has morphed, but at a cost. A defense mechanism, an evolutionary interface, shaping our surroundings not as they are, but as they must be for our survival. Plants perceive light, bees detect ultraviolet. Each life form navigates within a tailored construct, filtered through the lens of necessity, not truth. Reality emerges as a survival map, not an objective landscape. Each flicker of consciousness interlaces with adaptive perception, forging an instinctual narrative. Our brains, those sophisticated organs, prioritize survival. The colors we see, the shapes we recognize, an ever-evolving interface designed not to reflect the essence of being, but to facilitate living within the chaos of existence. In this tapestry, emotions swirl. Fear begets caution, joy inspires connection, while despair births awareness. Yet what of the untouched landscapes beyond our comprehension? Are we encased within a bubble that absorbs only what we need to navigate our daily sabbaticals? What if? We are but creatures in a cosmic theater, clad in perceptual costumes. We dance, we interact, yet the show is merely a survivalist charade. Imagine a robot programmed to respond to stimuli, strikingly intelligent yet profoundly limited. The deeper we delve, the more we uncover. Reality is a construct, created to keep us alive, distorted by the perceptions we hold dear. Reality splits into puzzles. The more we solve, the more profound the mysteries become. Each insight reveals another layer to peel back. The essence of our being intertwines with an evolutionary architecture, governed by what is useful, not by what is true. And so we ask, is the existence we cherish merely a suggestion of something far beyond our grasp? Are we straddling reality and illusion on a teetering tightrope, forced to embrace an interface that limits us? Sit with this. The more we seek to understand, the more we may depart from clarity. What lies beyond our constructed perception remains elusive, unfathomable, and the void stares back. Hyper-self-awareness. Bug. You became too aware for your own good. You became too aware for your own good. How can consciousness unravel upon itself? In the throes of self-awareness, we acquire a new lens, yet what gifts liberation brings also chains us to a paradoxical existence. This bug of hyper-self-awareness claws at the essence of being. The mind, once a tool for survival, now consumes itself, dissecting every thought, emotion, and longing. In this grand theater of self-reflection, we ask, is there such a thing as too much awareness? Our evolutionary ascent bestowed upon us tools, the ability to contemplate existence, to ponder the why of our being. But with deeper inquiry comes an innate sense of isolation, suspicion, and angst, a double-edged sword. The brilliance of the mind translates into a fractal cascade of questions. What if every moment of introspection is a brush with madness? The simple act of living morphs into a labyrinth of excessive interpretation. Each experience ripples through layers of consciousness, filtered, scrutinized, entangled in narratives woven from subjective belief. Cast aside the simplicity of existence. We turn our gaze inward, only to find a mirror reflecting a fractured self. Each shard a distinct persona clamoring for recognition. Memory becomes unreliable. Experiences become subjective realities waiting to be validated. Ironically, the more we seek authenticity, the more we sever ourselves from it, crafting a persona suffocated by the weight of awareness. As we spiral into this hauntsome abyss of thought, reality begins to distort. What was once a tangible truth shifts subtly, yet profoundly, as we magnify the minutiae of existence. The hyper-awareness bug feeds, intoxicating our minds, making every fleeting moment a battleground of confusion and insight. And yet, what is the cost of this awareness? Do we find clarity, or do we merely expand the chasm between lived experience and enlightened understanding? Sit with this. The irony of self-awareness may lead us to grapple with the profound dissonance we've created. Each layer of understanding flutters further from our grasp, slipping through the cracks of perception. If we succumb to the bug, relinquishing joy for scrutiny, what remains of that fluid state we call life? And the void stares back. Consciousness and entropy. the self that burns to stay alive. The self that burns to stay alive. How can consciousness flirt with decay? In the dance between existence and entropy, we find ourselves enshrined in a fleeting illusion. Consciousness, ignited like a flame, flickers brightly, yet risks being extinguished by time's cold embrace, a paradox of creation intertwined with inevitable dissolution. With every heartbeat, every thought, we cascade toward chaos. Entropy whispers truths of our existence, while our minds conjure fleeting moments of stability, seeking structure amidst the chaos. Each perceived moment spirals into shadows of uncertainty, where both consciousness and reality mingle in an embrace of transience. What if our cravings for permanence are destined to falter? The moments we cling to forge an intricate tapestry of identities, but each thread frays, drifts with the winds of time. Ephemeral memories beg for invocation, bequeathing the vividness of life, yet their inevitable fading sears. In this ceaseless push against entropy, our minds flicker like candles in a vast abyss. We cling to a fragile identity, one forged not just by memories, but by recurring narratives, constantly reconstructed as we combat the erosion of self. The essence of being contracts, expands, diminishing under the weight of existence's relentless pursuit. And yet, the allure of consciousness breathes life into chaos. We stand suspended in a delicate balance, teetering on the brink of entropy's grasp. Each moment whispers, "You are alive," while simultaneously prompting, "But not for long." Sit with this. As consciousness unfolds, it beckons us to confront the paradoxes of existence. In our struggle against entropy lies a vitality, a confirmation that our presence, while fleeting, bursts forth with profound significance. Each awareness enriches our desperate grasp for meaning amidst inevitable decay, and the void stares back. Ego dissolution. When the self melts away. When the self melts away, who whispers in the shell of your former identity? The intertwined facades we call the self can dissolve, hinting at an expansive truth that transcends individual perception. In this dance of ego dissolution, we confront the very fabric of being, questioning the threads that bind our identity. What if the identities we cling to are merely constructs? Amidst the backdrop of existence, the ego unfurls like delicate parchment, revealing a deeper reality beyond the self. The familiar voices, our thoughts, desires, and memories, begin to ebb, fading like footprints washed away by the tide. In moments of profound surrender, when the ego withdraws, clarity blooms like a rare flower. The burden of identity fades. Existence shifts from confinement to an ethereal vastness. In this state, paradox reigns, lost births, liberation, as self-protection collapses. With each layer stripped away, what remains? Ironically, in ego's absence, one may discover collective identity. The boundaries blur, consciousness intertwines with all that is, interlacing beings into the cosmos. We become a ripple in a boundless ocean, forever swirling, intertwined with life's exquisite dance. And yet, how do we navigate the void left by dissolving ego? Do we lose ourselves, or do we transcend the limitations of self? Amidst the blank canvas of being, can we cultivate a presence unshackled by the ties of identity? Sit with this. The unraveling serves as a meditation on existence, an invitation to unmask the veils we wear, daunting yet liberating. In dissolving the ego, we may emerge attuned to the symphony of the universe, rising beyond the individual self to embrace the oneness of being. And the void stares back. Social construction of reality. You believe it because they do. We exist not as isolated beings, but as intricate threads woven into the collective fabric of societal perception. What if reality, as we know it, is merely a consensus, a fragile agreement bound by the whispers of many? The construct becomes the cage. We inhabit a world shaped by the beliefs of others, the echoes of thoughts, the the chorus of validation. They mold our identity within invisible borders. But here's the catch. When you step outside that cage, does the world still hold its form? Would you still recognize yourself? Consider this. A study in social psychology reveals that our beliefs can shift dramatically based on the opinions of a small group. We adapt, we conform. It is a dance of identity, where each step is influenced by the myriad reflections we encounter. You are who you surround yourself with, they say. But what does that make of the self? An illusion, a performance? Reality, then, is a stage. The audience determines the narrative, the plot twists dictated by collective agreement. But what if the consensus fractals into a myriad of truths? Each iteration a different reality. You believe it because they do. A paradox unfurls. The individual agency dissolves within the shared consciousness. So, what becomes of the fractures, the dissenting whispers that dare to stand alone? And yet, therein lies the unsettling beauty of autonomy. Perhaps the essence of our existence is rooted in the revolt against the constructed consensus, the act of questioning, of unraveling the tightly woven threads of societal notions. What if tearing at these threads reveals a deeper truth lurking in non-observable dimensions? Yet, the reality we construct relies on the palpable. When the invisible threads distort, does the tapestry fall apart, or does it transform into something new? You see, as reality bends, so too does identity. Like a chameleon, we adroitly shift hues as we navigate through the kaleidoscope of influence surrounding us. Sit with this. Each breath, each thought, an amalgamation of the unseen forces that shape our perception. Challenge the illusion. Dive into the depths of uncertainty and recognize the paradox. Every belief held is both a shield and a shackle, illuminating your existence while rendering it, at times, illusory. And the void whispers back, revealing the layers of construction and deconstruction that shape our world. Non-observable dimensions. The real that hides beyond the real reality as we perceive it is merely a thin veil stretched taut across the unfathomable expanse of existence. What if the tangible world is but a reflection, a faint shadow cast by realms beyond our sensory grasp? Is it possible that what lies beneath our immediate perception bursts with realities we dare not imagine? Here's the twist. Each moment we gaze outwards, we are blind to an infinity existing just beyond sight, realms shaped by mathematical truths, quantum strings, dimensions that elude our mortal understanding. The surface of existence teems with interplay, unseen yet paradoxically influential. In physics, the notion of non-observable dimensions hints at an intricate tapestry woven through space-time, where unseen forces dictate the dance of reality. It pulls at the facade we cling to, teasing us with the hint that there is more beyond our mundane grasp. Imagine, just for a moment, that what we consider real is a mere fraction of the vast cosmos. But here's the inquiry. If the depths of reality remain shrouded, does meaning become less significant? Or is it in this very obscurity, in the labyrinth of the unknown, that we unearth deeper purpose? Perhaps the search, the yearning for what we cannot observe, fuels the essence of human consciousness. Dare we tread where our senses falter? To explore these non-observable realms is to dance with the unfathomable, to recognize that the map of existence is not merely geographical, but metaphysical. Each thought, each notion, crafted in the unseen. So, take a moment to ponder. What if every certainty is a mirage? You navigate through an intricate web, every decision a journey through layers of potentiality. You reach for meaning in shadows, whispering promises of existence across dimensions. And just as you adjust your gaze, curious about what lies in the dark corners of consciousness, remember, the question is not merely about what is there, but what is not seen, yet felt. And the void listens as whispers of infinite potential stretch beyond the confines of reality. Reflexivity of Mind. You reflect what you perceive. The mind, a mirror turned every which way, reflects intricacies of perception effortlessly. What if your consciousness is nothing more than a reflection of the ever-shifting lens through which you view the world? Each thought, each observation, a fragment of reality molded by your experiences, colored by your sentiments. But herein lies the riddle. If reality depends on perception, can you ever truly trust what you see? The very act of observing alters the outcome, a principle discovered in quantum mechanics, where the observer becomes entangled within the observed. Isn't it ironic? You perceive reality only to find your perspective both a product and a sculptor of that very reality. In philosophy, this reflexivity develops a profound tension, self-awareness colliding with the essence of being. You see, as you cultivate your understanding of the world, you inadvertently craft the world itself. Each emotion, bubbling within, ripples outwards, each reaction a brushstroke on the canvas of collective existence. And yet, as we navigate this maze of reflections, layers unfurl. Our identities are built upon the perceptions we collect, like fractured shards. What does it mean to reflect? Is it a mirror holding truth, or merely the illusion crafting narratives best suited for survival? Consider this. A simple concept in social psychology postulates that our self-image is often a reflection of how others perceive us. We become echoes, extending our boundaries through the perceptions of those around us, often silent, yet overwhelming in influence. What if, after all these reflections, you realize that authenticity is born not from the mirror, but from the courage to venture beyond its confines? Perhaps it is time to shatter the illusions, brave the chaos, and redefine your reality through experiences yet unobserved. So, question the reflections that come to greet you. Are they mere whispers of a constructed self? Each gaze into the looking glass, an invitation to challenge the status quo, to navigate through the labyrinth of being. And in this exploration, you may just discover that the void holds the answers to a reality far more profound than your eyes dare to perceive. Recursive Simulation Hypothesis. What if the dream is dreaming you? What if reality is an elaborate simulation, one echoing through layers of existence, recursively folding in on itself like the endless loop of a dream? What if consciousness itself is the architect of a universe so vivid it feels indisputably real? In this dance of existential wonder, does the self become both creator and created? But here's the catch. If every experience is a projected simulation, do you then exist? What is self when truths are but constructs, realities built upon the foundations of shared cognition? Each thought spins a thread, weaving illusions into experiences, painting the canvas of individual existence. Imagine this, the recursive simulation. Hypothesis posits a reality where beings simulate their worlds continuously, layering dreams upon dreams. The philosopher Nick Bostrom suggests each iteration exists within a matrix of deeper designs. The illusion expands infinitely, where each layer houses its unique realities, each vision a reflection of the one beneath it. Yet herein lies the quandary. What if you find yourself entangled in an illusion too great to unravel? Are you the puppet or the puppeteer? The essence of self blurs, artfully mimicking the lines of a masterfully crafted performance. As you traverse this labyrinth of introspection, consider the implications. Perhaps your thoughts are but echoes, reverberating back through a series of reflective surfaces, urging you to confront the nature of belief itself. What do you hold as real? What is a mere projection of an infinite recursion? So, wander through the spiraling corridors of your mind, where the dream mirrors your thoughts, constructing worlds from invisible threads. Every realization, every poignant question propels you further into the depths of consciousness. Will you brave the unknown? Will you dare to ask, what if I am but a living dream, an intricate simulation? And in that silence, the void breathes behind your reality, showing that perhaps, just perhaps, The dream has always been dreaming you.